It's historically not awesome.
The United States is a democratic nation. Here the people rule. We build no walls to keep them in, nor organize any system of police to keep them mute.
Freedom isn't free at all, but it comes with the highest of costs.
We have you, the listeners, and the hosts at
Revolution Radio.
for allowing us to bring you a platform of free speech.
CPR street gang, what is our fighting? Standing by, over. CPR street gang, what is our fighting? Standing by, over.
Right now, it's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines,
clocks for now.
Wind is blowing cold and dark. On the road and no way out. A broken heart's a smoking gun. On the run. On the run.
Recognize me, it's your favorite president, and I'm standing in front of the Oval Office at the White House, which is always an exciting place to be. I got back a day ago from Walter Reed Medical Center. I spent 4 days there. I think this was a blessing from God that I caught it. This was a blessing in disguise. I caught it.
Pirate Radio. Welcome to the jungle.
Ladies and gentlemen, live from the broken down Lawrence Sleazy, double greasy Pirate Radio Nut Hut Studios, it's time for the...
Almost got hit ahead. I mean, it's happened almost every single night. Are you still there?
I was safe, man. I was bunkered down today. I was down inside one of those vaults, beneath the surface of the planet, and literally, and there's all these toads and frogs and centipedes down there, and centipedes who get eaten by the toads, thank God. And you know what was weird is I thought of this movie called go too far, but called Kung Fu Hustle. Never seen it. It's an awesome movie. Where
I remember it.
They go down this dungeon. They go down this dungeon with these frogs and toads to see this guy, right? It was just like that. And these toads ended up being my buddies, basically. They hung with me for about 4 hours while I was down there. So that was my day. No surfboards today.
Well,
I was walking on toads.
I'll tell you right now, I'm smoking
Toad Rider.
a big, fat spleef. All right? And it's sprinkled with hashish. And I'm enjoying every inch of it. I'm telling you right now. Some good smoke. And it's a good week to have some smoke. It's picked a bad week to quit smoking. Man, I mean, there's so much going on, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. It's Revolution Radio. It's Independent Broadcast Network. It's Into the Microcosm. My name's Jimmy. That's the Epic Journeyman. We're here tonight, and we got a couple of pals, a couple of buddies hanging low over there. And I'm gonna get them all in here, man. Right now, we're just gonna get it going because, like I said, it's 24 hours in a day, and it's been 6 days since we've been gone. And
now it's mambo Italiano, mambo Italiano, go Joe. You mixed up Siciliano, or you calabrese, do the mambo like a crazy. And mambo, don't want a tarantella. Mambo, no more a mozzarella. Mambo Italiano, try an enchilada with a fish and bacalao. And gomba.
hey, Goomba.
Hey.
What's happening, man? It's Friday night once again, my friend. It's time to rock it till the party ends. I'm cocked, locked, and ready to rock. It's Revolution Radio. It's into the microcosm. We're glad you're here. There's Epic Journeyman's here now. Rockin' Rio's here. Are you still? Did you make it through the smoke, dude?
Yeah, the sky was a more blue color today.
The sky was blue today, huh? Well, yeah. That's always a plus.
And it rained pretty hard this afternoon. But yeah, the sky has returned to a reasonable color. Not the deep blue that it used to be.
Man, you survived the dioxin cloud that happened. I mean, that thing dropped off the news real quick, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
All of a sudden, no one's even talking about it. There's all these people limping and hanging over, looking like, what is that drug where people hang at their waist? Is that trank? Is that what they're taking? Trank?
Well, I mean, dope addicts do that.
Heroin. No, I'm just saying there's some...
The heroin, the dose,
No, man. No. That's the old addict. The new shit. There's people.
Fentanyl will do that to you too.
Is that what happens when they smoke fentanyl? They do the hang. They hang at the waist.
Yeah, they like fall asleep standing up.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. That's what it looks like. Man, that's the least of our problems. I mean, on some level, can you blame someone for just sitting there and just getting completely wasted every single day? I mean, what's the difference?
Flocka too is another comment that does.
What's the difference, man, between somebody who sits there and goes to work every day and grinds it out, and then and that they have a good life or whatever, but the guy that's over there getting high, hanging off at the waist or whatever. I mean, his life. What's the difference? You know what I mean? I mean, we say, oh, what, he wasted his life. Look at him. He's all over there, just all wasted. And then
I was going to use that song today, actually.
What's that?
The Hooters song, right? All you zombies. That was going to be my segment, actually. I don't know if you remember it from the 90s, maybe even late 80s.
No.
But, yeah, the Hooters. Yeah, we'll look up later. Yeah.
I remember that.
Totally appropriate, yeah, for this.
Well, appropriate that you made me forget what I was even talking about.
No, you were talking
about...
He's
the red herring king, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, what's the difference between a stoned out zombie and a work,
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I've been clean and sober, my life. I quit drinking at a certain age, you know what I mean? And I've been, clean and sober for over, what? Well, I wouldn't say, now I can't say clean and sober because the cannabis smoking is not considered clean.
You coined a new term, Jimmy. Cannabis clean. I'm cannabis clean. Not clean of cannabis. I'm just cannabis clean.
Yeah. So, but anyway, the point is that when you get clean and sober and you change your life, and everything gets better, because you quit doing whatever it was you were doing, that you repeated behaviors, over and over again, getting drunk or whatever it is you do. And then at some point you get clean and sober, and then boom, your life changes, and then you go around and you're living that life. But I mean, realistically, what's the difference between either life? I mean,
if you're a workaholic, right? Aren't you abusing yourself in the same way?
That's what I mean. It's just a different thing. But I mean, most people, to you, your life is better. But to the junkie or the addict, they're living the life. They don't work. They sit around, walk back and forth on some street somewhere, getting high, smoking cigarettes, figuring out a way to get a beer, to go along with that, whatever it is. But I mean, they're hustling all day, except for when they're hanging at the waist. It's almost like, the concept of good and evil in a way. Some people think some stuff's evil, other people don't,
Dark and sticky. All the time it's getting strong.
I guess beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
With this feeling, can't go on like this too long.
He's here.
This time you've gone too far.
He's there.
Time you've gone too far.
He's everywhere.
You've gone too far. I told you, I told you.
Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Pacific on the Independent Broadcast Network.
Too far. This time you've gone
From the Talamanca Mountains, Bruce McDonald.
told you, talk back. Just drive the car.
All you that.
Yeah, Jimmy, I'm here.
Excellent.
Just want to remind people we're taking calls tonight. 864-810-1039. 864-810-1039.
Oh yeah, we're coming straight out of the gate with the phone number, and that is great because we will take calls. Because let me tell you, things are coming off the rail. Hey, you know what? Remember back for the last, I don't know how many years. Let's call it 5 years. For the last 5 years, you were hearing about all these sealed indictments. The Q thing. They're like, oh, sealed indictments. Well, guess what, man? One of the indictments got unsealed. Trump indicted. Yeah. Well, I mean, I swear, in the history of being involved or looking at politics and, you know, on a worldwide basis, I don't think I've ever in the history of mankind seen a man so persecuted by the media in such a way where are they that scared of the guy that they gotta go through all these motions? I mean, let me ask you guys a question. Now, I might have been hallucinating. I don't know, but I thought like just a couple months ago they found a whole bunch of boxes of papers over at Biden's house.
Right next to the old vet.
Yeah. So I mean,
and Pence's house, right? And they called the archives, National Archives, and they turned them over. That's the difference. They didn't go try to obstruct.
So is that
for a year and a half?
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah,
so
wait.
That's a part of this story that I haven't heard. That is a bullet point that I didn't know.
They're charging him with obstruction because when they want, he said, well, if you want this stuff, come get it. He didn't carry it back to them, so that's why they raided him.
Is that right?
So now they're charging him with obstruction because he just, he didn't want to get off the golf course to hand deliver the documents.
Well,
he said they were all turned over twice, right? And they had a lawyer say they were turned over the last time on June 3rd, and then they found 103 more documents, a total of 337 top secret SCI and confidential documents. So yeah, I mean that's a big deal.
Well, I mean you've had clearances.
Yeah.
How secret? I mean, top secret is not top secret like people think, though.
But didn't also Obama have several hundred top secret documents? I mean, he willingly gave them back, right? But he had them in his possession.
Archives, yeah. So the exception on that is when you're writing your memoirs, for example, right? You request them from the National Archives, and then
Obama took them home too. He did the same thing. You don't see.
But he didn't obstruct it though. I mean, that's the difference. Not only didn't obstruct it, but he didn't.
So see, that's the thing though. The obstruction. It's like the thing.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
So they'll say that.
And he disseminated it. Here's a bigger deal. He disseminated it to people who didn't have classified security clearances.
Well,
so
see,
in other words, he showed it to people who are just out there in the open at Mar-a-Lago.
All right. Well, this brings up an interesting question then, because let's say this case moves forward, like it has any validity, and it moves forward. Can the FBI or the judicial system request all of the personal security tapes from inside Mar-a-Lago?
They did actually, and that's in the indictment also. What happened was they requested the security tapes because they have them on tape with this guy called Walt Nauda, who in the maintenance guy, and they were moving the boxes ahead of the inspection on June 3rd, when the lawyer said all the things were turned over. They went the day before and moved all the stuff to the ballroom, to the bathroom. They have pictures inside the bathroom, and behind the ballroom, all sorts of places inside Mar-a-Lago to hide them, and inside Trump's office and in his bedroom. And then what they did was they said, "Okay, we've turned everything over." But my
question is to you then is, How does he have a right not to incriminate himself?
Because he's supposed to turn him over. He's not president.
No,
anymore.
I'm saying if there's evidence against him because of the video, I'm bringing up something outside of the Trump thing. The Trump thing is
right.
But what I'm saying to you is, if you got video cameras in your own house, you have security cameras around your house, okay? So, and then all of a sudden you become somebody that's under investigation. Is there some legal way or precedence that people could seize information that came from the inside of your house? In other words, please expand on that. Then talk about how that's possible.
The way that it works is taking the security clearance aspect out of it. Just the idea of seeking information.
I'm just saying, Joe Blow.
No.
I'm saying
a warrant.
Forget
right? No. Forget
warrant, Trump. Listen, forget Trump. I'm saying you're Joe Blow.
You get a warrant.
Okay, you got a warrant. Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and a judge approves it, then you have to turn that over. That's all there is to it. Once a judge approves it, even though it incriminates you, it doesn't matter. So let's say you have security clearance to 9/11 planes hitting the building because you're facing that direction that day, and it gets subpoenaed by the FBI, and a judge approves it. You have to turn that over. You don't get to dispose of it and hide it. If you do, that's obstruction of justice.
So you walk around in your life day to day, 24 hours in a day. You're walking around in your life, and everything that goes on anywhere where you're on a camera or being recorded at any given moment can be used against you.
That's what's kind of messed up about this. Eventually, in the future, it can
kind of. That's exactly what the point I'm trying to bring up around it, dude. I'm trying to say.
There's a comical thing to this particular situation where, when it got subpoenaed again for the camera footage at Mar-a-Lago, they accidentally had the pool drained into the storage place where the servers were kept, air quotes accidentally, and it erased, damaged the surveillance footage. So it's another obstruction thing. It's like the dog ate my homework kind of thing. It's so hilarious. I mean, it's like the kind of thing an 8-year-old would think of. I mean, but yeah.
So we had to drain the pool and it
flooded the servers.
They could just go get a FISA warrant in the middle of the night and then just all of a sudden start coming right into your system at your house.
Well, that's what's unfortunate.
Like when you're under surveillance and you don't know it. I'm just saying, let's say, Epic Journeyman, you're under surveillance right now and you don't know it. Okay? I'm working for the G, man. I'm here and I'm got you under surveillance. You have no idea, but I'm watching you already. Watching your show, I'm watching your computer, watching your home video cameras, your home security cameras. You know that we brought this up before when that thing was coming online, that Amazon thing. We brought this up before.
Amazon Sidewalk, yeah.
Right?
Using all those little devices people don't think about, like the refrigerators and their appliances to.
But also the thing. Network. Isn't there some overriding thing on every one of these security systems that you buy for your house? So you go call some company, they come to your house and they install a bunch of shit at your house. Okay, it's all a bunch of wireless cameras for the most part, a bunch of wireless sensors. But the point is,
what happens is you agree to the terms of use. When you install those cloud computing things, right?
Well, that's what I was getting to. So
they own the footage. The only way to avoid that legally is if you have like a VCR in your closet and all your cameras are hardwired and they're all your own personal property, and you're not using a service. Like if you're doing like old school CCTV, they can't take that. But the minute you're willing to upload it into the cloud, it's all theirs.
Yeah, well, so that's the thing is that realistically, everybody's got a listening device and a recording device somewhere in their house.
Usually in their pocket.
Yeah, including your phone.
Multiple ones, yeah.
But the thing is guess what, man? Anything you say can and will be used against you. Okay, but there's no time when these people that are sitting in those black robes are not under the gun, right? So then who's judging the judges?
It's the biggest question, actually, right now. Yeah.
I'm serious.
It is. They've gone rogue. I mean, it used to be like a talking point from propaganda radio, but now it's a legitimate concern. It turns out the Supreme Court has no ethics protocols at all that are enforceable. Not one. Nothing. They can do whatever they want. The lower courts they enforce ethics protocols on them, but there's nothing in writing. Nothing at all that they're held to legally if they violate any ethics principles. They can take $1 billion bribe if they want to, and there's nothing we can do about it. That's effed up. And until that gets fixed, we're in trouble.
It's called Obamacare, dude. It's called
but
Obamacare.
we're talking about Supreme Court. We're talking about Supreme Court. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The Supreme Court. The head of the Supreme Court was the guy that swore Obama in. The guy that held. Remember when Obama got sworn in and it got screwed up and he had to do it later? It's because
it's a ritual too. It has to be done at noon and the day. Yeah, the whole thing.
But you know what? Obama wanted his. Why should there be some secret part of yourself that exists that is not the actual person that you are when you're everywhere else? You know, when you go to your job, you're this guy or that guy or this woman or that woman. You know what I mean? Or you go here, you go to a party. You know, you're a different person. You know what I mean? But you don't put yourself out there in an open and honest way without any manipulation at all. In other words, so if you're being filmed 24 hours a day, how you act every day, what you do, if you think about it, you know, how many different masks do you wear in a day? You know, how many different people do you have to be? You know, how much of an asshole you really are? You know, why do people treat me this way? But you don't realize, you know, that you're, you know, coming off a certain way to people, you know. But anyway, the point is like, there's a big disconnect from the way things used to be and the way things are, because all of a sudden after 9/11, everything's public. You know what I mean? There's nothing that's private anymore. You know what I'm saying, Epic Journeyman? I mean,
but it's this whole Fourth Amendment problem, right? I mean, it's not a problem. That's the only thing that protects us is right against legal search and seizure and to be secure in our persons, papers, and property. That's the Fourth Amendment. And that was the first thing that fell victim to 11 BS, you know, protocols put in there by Chertoff and those guys. But who's in on the machines? He made the machine to scan at the airport, his company, by the way. Right. So, yeah, big profit motive there. But the thing is, I mean, the whole thing's illegal. The Homeland Security in itself is I'm sorry, but it's illegal. It really is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was kind of part of what Deep Throat was all about with Nixon, but they focused on the political aspect of it. But a lot of what was being whistleblown about was that the agencies were all working together in a way that wasn't legal.
Yeah, it's a Patriot Act. I mean, they tried to pass Patriot Act. That's what's illegal, not so much the Homeland Security. They made that an agency, but the idea
but
that
the thing is people give up their rights in a moment of insanity because of what happened, and they said it's okay at this point to do this, okay, but then it was supposed to go away and end. The thing is, it never ended, and because of it, they kept building on it and building on it and building on it. And because of that, because of the building on it, and because of these buying into these scanners and this type of shit, it developed this whole other industry that all they want to do is focus on things that they can use at the airport to fight terrorism. So if you use that as a disguise, what that really means is there's a whole new, since 2001, industry that's developed around just being around the business of collecting information. And so the thing is, the reason you used to have to physically get a warrant and come down because you have to make a wire, do a cross connect somewhere, and do a physical tap on someone's phone. And so you had to go, you know, do that, put the, you know, actually take and, you know, connect the tape recorder to an actual phone line that you run a cross connect to. But you don't have to do that with the internet. So there's no cross connection that has to be done. But then this whole other industry developed too, because the government realized, well, hey man, we can't do it because it's against the Constitution, and we can't do it because it's against the rights of the people. But we can hire contractors. This is when this whole thing really got good steam, was in the second Iraq War with Junior.
Techno mercenaries, yeah, 100%. That's what those are. I've used the term techno mages, but in this case, a better term might be techno mercenaries. These are people who go do your bidding for hire. and stay above the law and above the fray because you can't touch them as a private corporation that are off the books, that aren't subject to any of the rules and regulations, right? I mean, so in other words, if you get a Freedom of Information Act, a FOIA request, they're immune from it because it's proprietary. It's messed up, man. Got to fix it. We got to fix it.
Man, it's...
Well,
go ahead, Bruce.
Well, guys, I think that the conversation you're having here is a little bit, I don't know, like 2014. Didn't all this change when they signed the Five Eyes deal? So the United States government doesn't have the right to spy on United States citizens, but they have the right to request files the Australian intelligence might have on U.S. citizens who do spy on U.S. citizens.
Yeah,
that was the whole point of Five Eyes.
Yeah, well,
right.
What about
that was
it?
the whole point of the Five Eyes system. I mean, it was abundantly clear that these countries wanted to start knowing more about their citizens, but didn't really want to change the law. Now, I've made this point before.
That's
on
why
air,
companies.
But it's worth repeating.
That's why companies started up that do that very information scraping and data scraping. It has nothing to do with the government. The government buys the data from those companies, and that's not 2016, homeboy. So you see what I'm saying? It's not a matter. Your information is available for whoever wants to pay for it, because there's companies that can do shit to you that they can do to you just because they're in business to do that, and that's their business. So someone pays them to do it, and it's a business, and they can just collect your information or hit you with RF. Same thing. Same thing. Companies own equipment that can blast RF into your skull from miles and miles away. Government can't do that to you, but somebody else can if they got the money to pay that guy to use it and use that equipment. So, I mean, we weren't necessarily going to get into this whole thing, but I just kind of started thinking about it with this Trump thing. That he has to have video, he has to have security cameras because of who he is. So he's constantly got the eye of the camera on him in his own personal home. And so the question we were kind of trying to drive at is, in this new economy of personal information that we're living in, and moving into a social credit system, that any of this information, is anything you say can and will be used against you, Bruce. The thing is people don't realize that really means something. And if you're being recorded 24/7 in some way off your Amazon or off your phone listening to you, whatever it is, your phone's sitting there waiting for you to say, hey Zena, where's the nearest cappuccino? That kind of thing. So we were saying this information just going up into the air, anybody can just grab it if you have the tools to grab the information. It's like mining for gold,
You're dead on this particular thing, in the sense that the indictment, I think it's 47 pages long, the indictment today on Trump from the federal government on this particular case. There's probably 10 pages of it that are his own quotes, maybe 8 to 10, somewhere in there, of just his own quotes of things he said, right? That they're the public record.
See, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm trying to get a grip on this, because this, does it change everything when everything you say and do at any given moment can be segmented out of your life to prove something in some courtroom? Bruce, you guys, what do you think? I mean, is this if it's available online, this indictment, everybody should read it. Try to get the one that has the actual photos in it. You can get the ones that are photo scanned that don't have the photos, just like it's black and white, so you can't see what they're actually. It's like a book. It's amazing. But the thing is that when you read it, it's rock solid. It is rock solid. So the thing about it is, how is he going to defend that? And the only thing I can think of is the one that nobody's used yet, and I bet you he's going to use it. It's AI, man. It's all deep fakes. It's not really my voice. It's not really the picture. It's AI. It's deep fakes. That's I'm telling you, man. I don't see any other way. There's no way out of this. It's all his words. It's all text messages. It's all the
the stuff from the people inside his orbit that testified, that took their own notes and stuff. It's bad. It looks really bad. But the thing is, what about this? That's the only thing I could see him trying, with other than copying a plea. I don't see any way out of it.
Bruce,
Epic, I have a question. If you could snap your fingers now like Thanos and swap Trump for Biden, would you do it?
In 2016, absolutely. Trump was evil, man. I mean, he is evil. Well, it's because he's a case of arrested development and extreme narcissism. It's not that I don't like Biden. It's not that he's a great, he's a consummate politician. He's a normal, traditional 20th century politician, and I don't like them either. But as far as criminality, I mean, the criminality aspect is not even necessarily conscious on Trump's part. He's just that person. He's such a narcissist that this is what he does. He has no concept of good and evil. It's all about self-serving agency, and that's who he is.
Regardless of how you feel politically, one way or
right,
the
it has
other.
nothing to be politically at all.
Just
No,
saying,
not at all.
Just take the political part of it out and just say Trump's just a guy. Instead of him being who he is, he's just Joe Blow, man, manager at
I just
Home
think he's a
Depot.
guy who needs an ass kicking. He never got his ass kicked when he was a kid because his daddy owned everything and he ran the sandbox. He's always been a boy his whole life, and that's what he needed.
Well,
and that's who he is.
I'm
He's
just
an
saying,
immature
man,
person. He's a man-child.
Pretend he's the guy who is the manager down at Home Depot.
So
and now he's in trouble for some
why
reason.
are we?
And they just all.
Why are we?
Bruce, listen.
Sorry, Jimmy, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, take the Trump part of it out of it, man. Take the political aspect out of it. If you're just some guy that this happened to, and they just go in and snapshot out of your life this chunk, you're guilty, brother. Goodbye. You know what I mean? Because like I keep telling people don't realize that once they got used to it, they don't realize that they're on fucking camera all the time. Listen, man, when that phone is listening to you, someone's listening to you. Okay? When you yell out, "Hey Siri, where's this?" Boom. I mean, that comes right out. Or "Hey Google," or whatever. Or "Hey Alexa." Whatever it is, whichever one of these listening devices you've chosen for yourself is the one that's listening. And I'm saying, and given you think most of what you say doesn't matter. It's just a bunch of gobbledygook. Well, what I say doesn't matter. If they're listening, it doesn't matter. Well, guess what? It does matter. It does matter. It's going to matter in this Trump trial. And, so the political aspect of it is what puts us out in front of everyone, and everyone should realize no matter where they stand on Trump, whether he's a narcissist or whatever he is, I think this is a clear violation.
Well, it's LifeLog in motion. It's what LifeLog sought to do: track every minute, every day, and every thought and every action, and keep it in perpetuity forever. Right? I mean, I guess it's a double entendre, but anyway, the point being that when you do something like that, and you can be prosecuted on it, irregardless of the fact that the man is obviously incompetent to be president, that's not the issue. The issue is, that could happen. That really could be used for everyone in the future. Because
so I cannot idly sit by and listen to this anymore.
To what?
You tell me what's better about America since Biden got in than the 4 years Trump was in.
The rule of law. The rule of law. Absolutely, 100%.
Say what?
The rule of law. Yes, the rule of law. Because
what's the phone number?
I'm telling you right now.
Give out the phone number.
You're going to give me a fucking college undergraduate answer?
No.
What's this, a fucking Netflix sitcom?
Hey, man, give out the phone number.
The rule of law? I mean, good God. No.
Yeah, thanks.
Dude, the Biden administration has broken every law in the books.
Look, let me just go for a second here.
Name one. Be specific.
Let me go for a second here. Okay. Well, the energy policy, the employment, the lack of debt, peace, started a peace process with North Korea, put China in their place. What the fuck didn't he do is the better question. You're saying he was incompetent for office?
100%. Absolutely. I stand by 100%.
Because of the rule of law.
Not just rule of law. He's a man child.
I'm starting to wonder if you have a chip in your ass.
Watch the F-bombs, man.
Yeah, we got other thing. The issue is that he's a unique case. Like there's autism, there's Asperger's, there's things like that. In his case, he has no empathy. He has no capacity for empathy. And he's arrested development at an age of about 9 to 11 years old, and that's who he is. That's just who he is.
Let me go for a sec. Okay, yeah, and enough with the psychological profile epic, okay? Let's give you everything you're saying. He's a narcissist, he's a criminal, he's all of these things, okay?
Yep.
At the end of the day, he's fundamentally a parasite. But a parasite needs a host, which means he would have kept America alive. The people in office now are literally trying to kill you and your country, and the fact that you can't fucking see that boggles my mind.
French, the French lesson going. I know you're part Canadian. The French thing is a little bit much there, but I will say this: that the situation with him is that he is giving away our national treasure, not just physically in the form of financial things to profit himself, but I mean through our treasure in the form of our intelligence, and that's a problem. The first country he visited was Saudi Arabia, and it was all about self-motivation because he wanted to have the Live Gulf tournament. He wanted to have the $2 billion go to Kirchner. It was all about profit. Everything that Trump did was transactional because he has the mind of a child.
All right, but now you're saying that Hunter Biden taking $3 million from the CCP isn't transactional.
He's not president. He's not president.
Oh, yeah, okay. So it was disseminated through a shell corporation to his father.
No, but you know who filed that complaint? The one that's been in Congress
border?
right now. That was Igor. Hold on.
So
Igor
it's okay
Fruman
for Biden to get money on
Giuliani.
the side, but not for Trump to get money on the side.
No,
I'm naming names.
What about
You know
the
names?
border? What about the epidemic of child trafficking going at the border now? The moment Biden got back in.
It's definitely not straw man.
If Fox News repetition.
Epic, if you've ever been in Texas, it's definitely not straw man.
I've been there.
Well, have you been there recently? Because I have, and I'll tell you what, it's not straw man. There's tons and tons of people pouring over that border, and a lot of them are dirtbags.
Yeah, no, we know that.
But that's okay, right? That's fine. Yeah,
that's not what I'm saying.
2 million extra people in Texas. Who cares?
That's not what I'm saying.
We're talking about hey, by the way, they're getting shipped up here to New York because Texas don't know what to do.
So basically,
now that they want to do that, right? They want us to keep them in our homes.
Down a little bit more for you, Epic.
Hold on a second.
Let me really dumb this down for you, Epic.
Hold on a second.
You're a woman.
Hold on.
You're.
Hold on, man.
Okay, so you're a woman.
Educate yourself more.
Come on.
No, I did that.
Let me just dumb it down for you a bit
just
more.
Like Trump does. And you're playing Trump tactics. You're using straw man tactics, which we are better than. We are all better on this panel to do that. None of us need to do that.
Okay, let me just dumb it. Let me just create a very simple analogy. You're a woman. You have a choice of two abductors. One is going to keep you sequestered in a cabin and perpetually rape you, but won't kill you. The other is a sadistic serial killer who's going to torture you for 48 hours and then kill you. Which one do you go with?
Neither, because I'm not a woman. Well, listen.
But the point I understand.
Hey, man. Hey. The thing is, look.
What amazing! It's not so much what you're saying about Trump, which seems deeply personal, by the way.
Well, lesser of two evils.
You seem to have some personal issue with Trump, okay? It's not so much what you say with Trump. The information you've brought to this show has always been solid. So I'm not going to question what you're saying about Trump. What bothers me is what you're willing to ignore about Biden and how you cannot make the distinction between, and you cannot tell me 2016 to 2020 was not 4 of the best years of government in the last 20 years of the United States.
Hey, Bruce, you're crackling. Your audio is Bruce's audio is crackling, so it's because it's cranked up so loud.
Here's what I can say. Like okay, so this idea of
listen, man, listen.
It's a great divider, right? So putting people in a polarized society, and that's in playing the straw man argument. That is what Hitler did. He famously read Hitler. Hitler read to him by his wife.
Well, break that down into details. Take it out of its conceptual rhetoric and give me who were the parties he was dividing.
Ivana. Well, he chose. He was originally a Democrat, right? He donated to the Democratic Party. It went to Epstein Island like everybody else did multiple times.
Man,
he's totally
this ain't about Trump.
But it's not about Trump. That exactly. It's not about politics. What this is about the idea of being pigeonholed into a polarization where you have to choose one side or the other.
Listen, man. The 4 years that Trump was in office, Bruce, 2 of those years was a pandemic. Okay, and 2 years before that,
I believe the pandemic came in early 2020, which would have been. I remember this because it goes with the cycle of the books. So John and I finished Stardust Ranch December 31st, 2019. The pandemic hadn't started. It was in the middle of Light of Darkness that the pandemic started. So
he is the vax.
He's in the last
he
eight.
Is the vax.
It was
daddy.
in the last 8th of his term.
Whatever it was, man, it was whatever he did before that was nullified by that, and it's continued to be nullified ever since then. So the thing is, it's like I was saying earlier. The thing is, man, it's like I don't like Trump. I despise everything about him, but that's not the point.
I don't like Biden.
No, I don't like Biden at all. I despise Biden just as much as I despise Trump. But listen to me. What I'm saying to you is, I gotta stand up for the man's rights, regardless of how I feel about him politically, because politics comes and goes, parties come in and they go out, but our rights don't revolve around certain people. Our rights should be there for all people, including people you don't like. That's what I'm saying. Just like speech. If I say stuff you don't like, you should support. Even though you don't like me, you don't like what I'm saying, you should support my right to say it, because that is your right to say what you want to say. Same thing with Trump. I think this is an invasion, into, they didn't like come at it in a certain way. They came at it in a hostile way, where the federal government's judicial arm is being used as a weapon by the party in power. To me, that is a banana republic shit. Go ahead.
It's an abuse of power. If they're going to go after Trump for his documents, they need to go after Biden for his documents and Obama for his, and
right.
Hillary for the tapes in the server room and the
right.
secret emails. They need to go after everybody if they're going to go after one guy. They need to leave them all alone if they're going to leave them all alone.
Well, they have a special prosecutor assigned.
You can't have this double
Biden.
Standard. If
standard?
your rights are your rights, then that's it, right? You
What
can't
double
have
standard?
rights for this guy but not for that guy.
Right. You can't have that.
I think
that's what the Constitution says. All men are created equal, right? So we're all equal. So either everybody's guilty or nobody's guilty. Not this guy's guilty because I feel like I want to make him guilty.
He's only guilty. Yeah, he's guilty because you're going to enforce the law. So you're bringing force to the law. You're enforcing the law, and particularly you're singling out a person to selectively enforce a law. And if you're going to apply the law selectively to whoever you want to politically, that's not the country that we're supposed to be living in. That's a banana republic shit.
It's time for an epic fable. So
enough fables, dude. Don't throw me no red herrings.
No.
I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
I'm saying it.
Check it out. So two bank robbers rob a bank, and it's because they have this. One person has a mortgage. The other person just wants more money, but they're in it together, right? Whatever. They steal, and they shouldn't have stolen. And then the sheriff of the town back in the Old West comes to him and says, "Look, man, I know you guys are like 17 years old. I'm going to let you go. Just give the money back. Nobody got shot in this case. Just go ahead, give the money back. We'll let you go." And then one guy goes, "Yeah, okay. You know what? I'm sorry. Here you go. I didn't even know I took it. Actually, I was riding the getaway horse, right?" And the other guy goes, "No, I'm keeping it. It's mine. It's mine. It's mine." Does the guy that doesn't give it back up when he's given that opportunity not deserve to be prosecuted? That's the difference here. There's a special prosecutor assigned to both cases. There's a special prosecutor in the Biden case where his documents are end up in his Delaware home, in his other library, and there's one for Trump. But as soon as they found him, as far as we know, we don't know all the facts. Trump gave him right back, of course, because it wasn't it's actually his aides who found him and contacted the National Archives and said, "Hey, come down and search and get whatever else you need because we found these here," right? But in case of Trump, no, they're mine. I'm not giving it up. I'm not giving the money back. That's a difference. It's not a difference related to politics. It's just a difference of the fundamental aspect of the rule of law. And given an opportunity.
No, it's a difference between
And Pence was cleared. Pence isn't going to be charged. He had documents too.
Right. No one's being charged but him.
Rule of law.
That's what I'm saying. It's bullshit. It's bullshit because
you're
you're using
talking rule of law.
It's
under a government that has defunded the police, turned San Francisco to shit, Los Angeles to shit, New York to shit.
And the FBI. They're the ones to
shut down the domestic energy program that Trump started, which made the United States the #1 exporter of energy in the world. Put everybody into bankruptcy almost. You're supporting a government that is literally trying to murder you in a country that you love intentionally, by the way.
But the thing is, I wouldn't say
intentionally.
I wouldn't,
because you have a beef with the narcissistic personality of Donald Trump.
Listen, I wouldn't say he supports.
Can you not see how imbalanced your argument is?
The thing is, though,
it's not imbalanced.
Bruce,
They don't support either one of them. I'm just saying, pointing out a fact.
Hey, listen, Bruce. Everyone and people listening, because someone dislikes Trump doesn't mean they like Biden. That doesn't. There isn't only. There's not two options.
They're all scumbags.
The problem.
Trump's just the leper with the most fingers.
The problem with the whole thing is that you can't selectively enforce shit on some random dude. I keep saying it doesn't matter if it's Trump. If the manager at Home Depot randomly gets a random segment of his life, where everything he said and everything he did and everywhere he went and all his GPS and all this shit, man, there was a trial that just happened recently where a guy murdered his family or whatever, and the whole thing was about them using his phone against him, the GPS locator and all that other stuff. And that's what I'm saying, and what I was originally talking about. But it's the Trump conversation is irresistible, I know, but the point is, it's not about Trump, man. It's about is our country a lawless place? I mean, the law is only for you.
Yes.
It's, the law is only for you. It's not for me.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I'm.
The simple answer to your question is yes. The rule of law was suspended the moment Biden got into power. By the way, we have a caller. 615 joined about 15 minutes ago.
All right, 615. Who are you? Where are you calling from?
It's Rusty.
Hey, Rusty, what's happening?
In the chat.
Yeah, what's going on, man?
Not much. I was listening to the conversation, and I was spurred to call in.
Great, man. Well, what do you got? What do you got? Throw us a bone, man.
It's not about the laws. It's about the selective prosecution of the laws.
Right. Yeah.
And
man.
it's not apples to apples even. I mean, Biden, he got his papers when he was a senator. There's no gray area. He wasn't supposed to have those in the first place. There's just nobody wants to prosecute him or Hillary, even though there's no gray area. In fact, it's very black and white that they both broke the law.
That's
but there's a bunch of gray area and speculation in the Trump stuff, and so it makes for a good news story to get everybody hyped up and worked up. But it's just like the January 6th versus the Antifa, the Summer of Love.
Right.
Two scenarios, two very different prosecutions.
Well, that was the point I was trying to make
selective.
before. If they're going to use the power to go after Trump, then they should use that same power to go after Biden and after Hillary and after Obama, because the selective use of power, especially because they're using it in a political fashion, is inappropriate.
And they have the slam dunk.
Yeah,
they had the slam dunk. All they have to do is prosecute everybody who was involved in Epstein, and then they've got Trump for 100 years, and everybody would be okay with it because everybody else involved would also be in trouble.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't argue about the Epstein thing at all. Yeah, no, not at all. In fact, Barr's involved. The Barr, the Attorney General Barr. His father was the dean at the college that hired Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, I would say if you could probably
bend laws, and they had to extend the statute of limitations to go after this guy, because everything they've got him dead to rights on would also get everybody else in trouble, which is why Trump is so dangerous to them. And why
they gave him the opportunity to turn his stuff in.
Now to prosecute him in the court of popularity as opposed to actual courts, because they can just drag this out till after the election. They just need people to turn against him so that they can keep everybody pigeonholed.
I have to interrupt for a moment. Just this one question, though. If you or I did this, we'd be in jail already. Our trial would be over. We'd be in jail. What makes Trump special? Does he have some ability to go beyond the law?
All this happened before he got into office. A lot of this stuff happened.
The documents
stuff that was leading in 2015. Well,
we're
the
talking
documents
about
per se, but the other things that they've been trying to prosecute him for, they go back as far as before he got into office to bring up different court cases. The stuff with the prostitute happened before, or the hooker happened before.
Yeah, he ain't talking about
president.
This ain't about the hooker, man. This is about the boxes of papers.
We're talking about the federal thing.
It's indictment after indictment after indictment after indictment.
It is.
They're
It's
going
just
to
like
throw
the
all the noodles at the wall and see which one
It's been 7-8
sticks.
years.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
the whole
Russiagate was a whole. No, okay. So since this can of worms is open,
went to jail. 13 people.
Of course, it was a hoax. It's all been proven now. What's his name? Durham submitted his report. The whole thing was fabricated by Hillary Clinton and her team. They should be in jail for what they did.
They should be. Listen. We're coming up on the break. We're coming up on the break. All right. Give out that phone number one more time. When we come back, we'll take calls.
864-810-1039. It's in both chats too. It's on YouTube. I put it in. You can scroll up, and it's on the chat for Into the Microcosm website.
Right. Hey Rio, put it in Rev Radio, will you? Appreciate it. All right. It's Into the Microcosm, and it's Friday night. Somehow we got talking about Trump, and it's irresistible. It's irresistible, people. We'll be right back.
It is.
Radio at freedomslips.com. And we'll be right back after this message.
Hey everyone, it's Barbara Jean Lindsay, the Cosmic Oracle. If you have questions about your past lives or future plans, need answers from the cosmos about your love life or career, or just want to keep your finger on the pulse of the planet, check out my show, The Cosmic Oracle, here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com.
Don't miss the Crypt Rick and Jonathan Show every Saturday, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Studio B, right here at Revolution Radio.
The journey begins to fun, health, and freedom.
Did you ever feel that things were not quite right? That everything was just ever so slightly askew?
Do you have, to paraphrase Morpheus, a splinter in your mind?
If you're interested in hearing the latest information about UFOs, the paranormal,
ancient cultures and structures,
monatomic elements,
longevity,
fantastic discoveries in science,
downloaded to your brain,
then tune into us. Hi, I'm Dave.
And I'm Mackie.
And we are Shiny Side Out, Sundays 2 to 4 a.m. Eastern. See you then.
Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here.
Hi, this is Robert Stanley. I'm the host of the Unicus Report, where we explore enigmatic events taking place both on and off this world. Please join me Mondays from noon till 2 p.m. Eastern on Revolution Radio, Freedom's Lips.
Revolution Radio, Studio B, at 11 a.m. on Saturday for free association, when we take a look at philosophy, spirituality, psychology, social issues, and geopolitics. It's every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern on Studio B at freedomslips.com.
I want to thank everybody for listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, the one place where information never sleeps. Revolution Radio.
All right, let's show them what we got.
All right, thanks for listening while we took that short break here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. And now we're going to get back to your host.
You're on mute, Jimmy.
I know.
You're on mute.
I know. I know. I know. I know, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
I had to compete in the concrete jungle. In the jungle. Had to kick and scratch, stab some back in the jungle. In the jungle. At first I had a honest dream in the dark road to.
What's up, TalkStream Live? It's into the microcosm. It's Revolution Radio. It's freedomslips.net, I think. Independent Broadcast Network. We're here every Friday night, 9 o'clock Pacific. It's 10 o'clock on the West Coast. And what we're talking about tonight is where did our freedoms go after 9/11? We decided we'd give it up for a bit because we had to, And now here we are with one of the biggest scandals, I think, of the political season coming up is this here. They're trying to wound Trump coming into the election. So he's limping when he's coming in. But it's not right to just snip a segment out of your life and prove you guilty, And just because someone says, hey, give me this information, you don't necessarily got to do what they say. Just because they say, hey, give me the information I say I want, you just say, go. Well, here it is. Wouldn't you just fight against it? I mean, wouldn't you just be obstinate just because? Because it's a violation. It's like, who are you to tell me to give you this? In other words, are you a free man on the land? Or are you just a slave till someone, like I said, enforce the law? Selective enforcement. How many, I think there was a study done on people and how many times they break the law in a day and they don't even realize it. So imagine that's the case, and then let's say there's some sort of a filtering mechanism over the top of that, say an AI mechanism, that's constantly watching you, and you're breaking laws and you don't even know it, and then they just all of a sudden prosecute for it. They say, hey, Epic, you're under arrest. for your, you know.
What'd I do?
Well, whatever you did. Whatever you did.
The average person breaks the law 3 to 5 times a day, Jimmy.
3 to 5 times.
It's just every time you spit.
3 to
every time
5.
you spit.
3 to 5 arrestable offenses every day.
I got to ask before we get into the next hour, because I'm morbidly curious at this point. Let's just say I have a hunch. Epic, why don't you give us your take on what's going on in Ukraine?
All right, hang on a second. Hang on a second. You got a caller, okay? So take the caller before you change the subject. And I don't really want to get into Ukraine really that much, but go ahead, caller.
Am I on?
Who's first there?
Well, there's two now, Jimmy. So 330 was first, and then 425.
All right, 330. Come on in. What do you got to add to the conversation?
Hey guys, good show tonight. This is Trish from Ohio. I just want to ask really quick, how do I catch Bruce's show?
Well, you can tune into the microcosm.com or ibn.com at 10 to 12 Eastern Standard Time, and everything goes up on Spotify and all the other podcasting sites. It's just called McDonald in the Morning, and you can look it up. It's been going. How long has it been going now? How long have we been on the air, guys? 3-4 months?
Yeah, it's been a bit. It's been a bit longer than that, I think.
Yeah, I've been trying to find it. And just a quick comment about the whole Trump business. Just my opinion. It's just part of the big show.
Yeah, but on the bigger picture is, though, how would you like it if a big slice of your life just got sliced out, period of time,
right? Exactly.
And they just came at you and said, "Look, you did these 9 things that were wrong, and right now we're going to prosecute you." And it's because you voted in a way that we didn't like last time, or you said something we didn't like that you said.
What's coming.
Mm-hmm. Is this
what's coming? Their plan is easy. I mean, anything that comes up, it's 3-part plan. It's depopulation, transfer of wealth, and demoralizing of the people. This whole Trump thing is demoralizing of the people. Mm-hmm. And you want to talk about the pandemic, blah, blah, blah. That was depopulation and demoralizing the people. The Ukraine war. That is demoralizing people, transfer of wealth, and depopulation. I mean, whatever thing comes up in the news, it's going to come down to those 3 things. And most of the time, currently, it's demoralizing the people. And
I agree. I agree, Trish. And I want to ask you just quickly: do you think Trump was a part of that depopulation, demoralization, and transfer of wealth?
I think Trump is, he's part of the show. I think he was, like I said, he's a great actor. And
he is. But the thing is, look,
they know. Look, the whole thing is, America, the world, whatever. We've been online since what? Is it 97, 95? My personal belief is AI has been around since the World Wide Web. And, that is the devil or whatever you want to call it, okay? Mm-hmm. And it knows everything about everybody that's ever stroked a keystroke on the Internet. And it even knows if you've never been on there, that's a whole profile, too, if you've never been on there and say you're in your 50s, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So
we'll see. We're moving into the social credit score era.
Oh, Jimmy, we've already been on the social credit score since we just don't know it. They're just telling us about
That's what I'm saying. And now all of a sudden there's going to be this, because they publicize the AI, there'll just be this AI overlay over the top of everything.
Sure.
Just catching and snagging you for every violation and plastering your picture across all the big screens. and everyone will get their 20 seconds of hate when the person who violated the pronoun game got caught and put up on the big screen in Times Square.
You betcha. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in my view, when you talk about the 20 seconds of hate, if this generation, this time right now, if we were magically transferred back to, what was it, the time of the
1999
Salem. If we were transferred back to the times of the Salem witch trials, and we were all Christians, right? The left would be the one saying, "She's a witch, burn her, she's a witch." I mean, honestly, they would. They would. It's so easy to shepherd the herd. I mean, this whole country could be transformed into 100% Christian, or Islam, or Buddhist, whatever, within probably, I don't know, less than 20 years, probably even less than that. I mean, look at what the country is right now.
Where
I mean,
are you located? Where are you located?
I'm in Ohio.
Ohio. Yeah. Interesting. Now, so has everything dropped off the map as far as the big train derailment? Has everything got onto the news in Ohio? Are you still hearing about it every day?
We haven't heard nothing about it.
No. All right.
But
well, listen.
I don't listen to no local news.
Hey, stand by, Trish. So we got a second caller. Let's bring the second caller in there, Bruce. Who are you? Where are you calling from?
425. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I guess you all know the voice, but I'm with Bruce McDonald. I think there's something wrong with the Epic Journeyman. I mean, I really do. Well, there's got to be something. I mean, for you.
Well, go ahead and elaborate. I'm right here. I'm open to.
Sure. I can pick you apart.
Well, listen.
Sure. Go then.
Listen. Why don't we get you on Skype though, so that way.
Yeah. Don't here. Yeah, no. I'm open to criticism.
You want me to go to Skype?
Yeah, I'll go add
well,
you.
Who's going to pull me in?
I will.
Do I got it?
I will.
Okay. All right. I'll get on Skype.
Yeah.
Give me just a minute.
More than willing to have it.
I'm going to kick your ass. That's what I'm going to do. Hang on.
Watch out.
Can I say ahead of time? I don't think that's going to happen.
All right. But listen. We're going to have to moderate this. Because we're gonna have to give each person. There's no talking.
I'm pretty good at debates. I'm just saying I'm pretty good at debates.
Okay, listen. There's no.
Okay, I will be the ring girl.
All right. You should listen.
Let's do it.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do it civilized because no talking over the top of each other. Because each person needs to make a point so we can hear what you're saying. So everybody can just listen to each point.
Well, 1 minute 30-second question response.
All right, well, then you're going to make me sit there and watch the clock. All I'm saying is...
Well, somebody has to. We're pretty close. Just a
all right, Rio, help me out. Watch the clock. Hold on a second. Rio, get a stopwatch going for this. I got to add hijacker. Hang on a second.
All right, so should I like automatically mute people when their time is up?
Yes, you should. Yes, you should.
So here's how it has to start with a question by the moderator, right? So we'll do like a debate.
Well, stand by. Let's wait for Bruce to come back. Here, listen. I got it. Here, I got some music while I add the hijacker. All right. I think he's still on. Is that you, Trish? They're still on there, or hijacker may still be on the phone.
Yeah, Trish is on. Trish is 330
on my end.
Yeah, either mute up or just listen and call us back after the debate. You can just listen on the air and then call us back. You're welcome to call back. All right. It's into the microcosm.
We shall see. Talk that trash, yourself. You've been in places, girl, where you don't belong. I've been there too. I'm not saying that it's wrong. But you told your friend that you got away clean. But on the real side, you got the rhythm machine. Rock and rap, mommy.
All right. So we're going to have a discussion here between the hijacker and the epic journeyman. Hijacker, welcome to the call.
Perimeter
Now,
check on my part first to get ready for the debate.
all right,
Right
yeah,
back.
listen, go ahead. So hijacker, what we're gonna do is we don't want you guys talking over the top of each other. So we're gonna give you guys each a minute and a half. Okay? Rockin' Rio is gonna be over there with the clock. And when the minute and a half is up, when your time's up, you get muted. So this way you guys don't. So keep an eye on the clock, hijacker. It's into the microcosm. Just give the journeyman that's taking a quick check of the perimeter, and he'll be right back.
Fumes in the burning plastic. Beats all broken, bones are spastic. Robots talking with a southern accent. Voodoo curses, Bible tongues. Voices coming from the mangled lungs. Some grit, some get down shit. Don't need a good reason to let anything rip. Radio's cold, so selective.
One by one, I'll knock you out.
Guidance too low, hardware defective.
One by one, I'll knock you out.
It's the microphone making all the damage felt. Like a
Hijacker, are you there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Excellent. Hey, how's your
probably a minute and a half is too long. Probably we ought to go 30 seconds.
You think? No, I think a minute and a half's good. That way, if you stop, you don't have to go the whole minute and a half. But I mean, so listen.
No, it's just a limit. It's just a limit, right? So actually, the question could be 30 seconds. I think that's a good idea. I was just thinking about this.
All right,
So
well, listen,
so
but before you, hey,
we don't have a-
hold on. I want to talk to the hijacker for a second. Okay, hijacker. Ultimately, for me, I'm not in this conversation around the characters, the players, and the political aspect of it. What this is for me is, it from now on and into the future, any snapshot of anybody's life can be taken out and said, let me use this as evidence against you. And that's what I have a problem with. Whether I like or dislike Trump has nothing to do with it. Like I say, I would if somebody gets their rights no matter what. You know, how many people do you see that go to trial and because of their rights they get off and they were guilty, but they had the right. You know, that's the way it is. You gotta take it both ways, hijacker. So
yeah, well, Bruce McDonald, he brought up the big issue, which is how can somebody so smart as Epic Journeyman, how could he not see the grand picture, the great deception, where basically you've had a Zionist, Bolshevik, Jewish oligarch, communist takeover of
Sounds
the
like Mein
country.
Kampf, man.
A coup. 30 seconds. A coup. Let me ask you this, Epic Journeyman. Did Donald Trump win in the landslide in 2020?
No. That's easy.
Go ahead.
Biden won by 7 million votes, and there were 61 appeals in federal court, and Donald Trump lost 60 of those, and the only one he won wasn't about the vote. It was about a technicality about to look at it again, which they got a recount. So, which wasn't actually part of that. But yeah, the fact is, it went to all the courts. He had his appeals in court, and he lost them all.
Yeah,
and,
so
and the recount
shows,
also they lost.
Well, first off, none of it ever went to court. All of it got dismissed by not having standing.
Right.
You got to realize that.
Well,
There was no court procedures. Everything was knocked down. Evidence never went into any of those 59 or whatever you're talking about. But that's not the point.
60.
The point is that if you can't see what happened, that's as plain as day, that you saw a landslide, an historic landslide election won by one candidate, and then all 6 or 7 states universally stopped and then flood with millions of paper ballots. If you
Minute and a
can't
half,
see, if you can't see that there's a coup, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying Bruce McDonald's right. There's something fundamentally wrong with you. There's something.
Minute and a half.
I'm starting to think. I'm starting to
hold
think
on.
he's somebody's dog.
Hold on a
a
second.
leash.
No. Bruce, don't start all ganging up on Epic. This is between
No, minute and a
Epic
half,
and the
right?
hijacker.
So what I was going to say was the format should be then we get 30 seconds to ask.
There's no
questions.
doubt the
Bruce,
2020
the debate is
election was
between me and
stolen in
hijacker,
the
right?
United States. The last two in Canada have been stolen in favor of Trudeau for Dominion machines. Because Trudeau is so hated, they have to give him minority
Dominion won in
government
court,
so
settlement.
people don't go.
But now,
What's that?
$1 billion against Fox News, which resulted in Tucker Carlson being fired. And them settling for almost, $1 billion.
Well, do you know about that court? Wait a minute. Do you know about that court case, Journeyman?
Yes, I do. I absolutely do. Do you?
Okay. Tell me
So
about
my
the
question to you. My question to you. 1 minute and a half to answer. Do you know about
Let Epic get his time. Rio, start the clock.
Describe
Rio.
the court case to me and what the results were and what they were. You have a minute and a half to answer. What were the results of that court case? What was the settlement? Who won the settlement? How much was paid? And what were the results of that? Do you know that? You have 1 minute and a half to answer.
Hijacker, you're muted.
Okay, yeah, well, no, this is an easy one. By the way, before they settled, 1 week before they settled, when discovery came and the Fox lawyers wanted to bring in the Dominion voting machines and look at their quote unquote, what do you call it? It's not priority. It's
proprietary. I'll help you.
It's their inner workings of the machine. The federal judge said no. At that point, Fox News knew there's no way they could win it. Plus, they're also partly owned by BlackRock, as well as Dominion voting machine. So it didn't matter who won, who lost. Money was just going to go back and forth to BlackRock. Thirdly, part of that we now know, and Tucker's admitted it, that he was part of the package that will settle for the $700 and some odd million, but Tucker's got to go, and that was part of the deal. So to bring up the Dominion voting machine, but the bigger fact is that
you brought up the Dominion voting machine.
Well, the very fact that you actually believed that the Democrats allowed over 100 million paper ballots changed our way of voting, and you actually believe that there was a fair. I'll finish. There's a fair election. Something's fundamentally wrong with you now, Epic. Let me ask you. What do you do for work? Do you actually work for the government? Do you have are you on IT?
Spook, man.
No. Wait with that minute and a half. So basically 30 seconds to ask. Here's the way it should work, right? 30 seconds to ask a question. We'll start the timer. You ask me a question. I'll get a minute and a half to answer, right? And then then the mediators, the moderators.
Listen, let me bring some sanity into this conversation, okay? I want you to recall back to the Gore-Bush election. I want everyone to remember that and remember that moment. And then I want you to remember Ron Paul in New Hampshire. I want you to remember a website called blackboxvoting.org. And I mean, this isn't the first election there's been problems with. There's been problems every election, and by the time the 4 years is up, everybody forgets about what happened and moves on. You know, and the thing is you're all going to go down in 2024 and vote for whoever it is, man. Everybody's going to get hyped up about this whole Trump thing. Everybody's going to show up and go down there and believe in the system again, you know, or whatever, man. But nobody's solving the problems, man. The problem is that if you have a problem with your voting system, then you got a problem. So this is another way that they're going to suck people into doing this positive ID thing. Because the thing is, man, you need to be able to trust your voting, don't you? You need to go down and I need to know it's you on the internet. Go ahead.
So let me go in the parameters that Epic outlined, okay? So 30 seconds for a question. You can take longer than 90 seconds to answer, Epic. Take as much time as you need. Like I said in the first hour, I will give you the criticisms of Trump. He's an almost impossible guy to defend. But there's this theory in wargaming that the enemy of your enemy is your friend. And in that context, I side with Trump. What amazes me about your analysis is that when I listen to you talk, you make it sound like Trump is the worst thing out there on the world stage. You ignore Klaus Schwab. You ignore what is clearly an agenda to kill white people, and specifically white Christians. And you're all focused on Trump like he's the problem. Now, he may have been just an egotistical, narcissistic aberration that got in the way of their plans, but the 4 years he was in office seemed to me to be the only abatement of a plan that got set in motion on 9/11, and the only 4 years in the last 22 years that we got any kind of respite, and the possibility of going in a new direction was under Trump. Do you... And Klaus Schwab, the World Economic Forum, the depopulation of the United States.
30 seconds?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, no, so what's the question? Just 30 seconds. What's the question?
So why in your worldview
Love
is
is the
Trump
answer.
the worst thing out there?
Because he's an agent of disinformation utilized by the governments, but not extra governmental agencies of Alexander Dugin, Steve Bannon, and Putin. That's exactly what this is. So this is the idea is to instigate a separation inside the United States, a revolt. They tried it at first. They tried it in Moldova, right, with Transnistria, and putting this misinformation forth and using this propaganda campaign of disinformation. And they honed it in using medical engineering to show Putin on his white horse representing the white Christian male, right? And the left, it's not just the left, but anybody anti-Putin just wants to basically kill babies and turn your kids queer. And that is basically the premise that they use. And this propaganda, this disinformation campaign is designed to separate and cause a civil war with the United States using what they call a force magnifier, using very little amount of force and resources to amplify it into something that can actually achieve an objective outsized by military force. That's my answer.
So you're saying this is like some Yuri Brzezinski like level FSB mind foolery. Okay, I can buy that, but the only thing you said I don't agree with is that they want to kill your babies and turn you queer as propaganda. I don't think it's propaganda. I'd say that Bill Maher is a pretty good quoter of statistics, and he did this chart just before he went on holidays, the percentage of the population by decade since the 60s, and it's been doubling every decade. The millennial generation identifies as 40% queer now. And if this trend perpetuates for one more generation, 8 out of 10 people will identify as gay.
That's why
this is
the extinction.
How do you maintain a society like that?
You don't. This is the extinction generation. We
So-
pointed this
yeah,
out 2
yeah,
years
so-
ago. Hey, hang on a second, Epic.
Sure.
We pointed this very thing out 2 years ago with Universe 25 and the experiment with the rats. Because the extinction generation with those rats, they all ended up homosexuals, licking themselves in the mirror in their rooms, chewing on themselves. Because
so am I debating hijacker or not?
yeah, hijacker's
well,
here.
that is the point. Bruce McDonald.
No.
he always gets-
So I have a question, right? I have a question now.
Hang on a second.
I mean,
Answer
it's
Bruce's
Okay,
question.
go ahead. Go
Hey,
ahead.
answer
I'm like McDonald. Somebody starts talking, you automatically shut off. We can't help it.
Go
We know
ahead.
how to debate. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Bruce.
Well, so the question was, it's not Russian propaganda. It really is happening. They really are trying to kill white Christians in the United States. Jesus Christ, Epic! 3 weeks ago, they're talking about passing legislation to give poor minority people a break on their mortgages, and white people who make X number of there's going to be a tax put on their mortgage to help the poorer. So if you have a good credit rating, they're now going to penalize you. And you're telling me this is Russian propaganda? Well, it's pretty effective that they can make it work under the Biden administration.
It's called useful idiots, right? So the people who go out there and make these different 49 genders or however many they're up to now and different pronouns are the useful idiots who bought into this very propaganda on the other side. People don't understand this. We use that word binary, and that's the word I want to use because they've taken it away from us, because binary used to mean, ones and zeros, right? Left, right, whatever, right? They've taken that word away because it is sexualized the word. To say you're non-binary means that you're gay somehow or something. Non-binary is essentially that you are not part of that Hegelian dialectic. And so basically, Hegelian dialectic.
You're
non-binary.
non-binary.
So basically, so the point here is that the people are just as guilty on both sides. What Putin, Bannon, and Putin's Rasputin over there want to do, Alexander Dugin, is to amplify what they call the right, and use the word in the meaning of the word right, to actually make that be it has a good tone to it, right, as opposed to her, whatever they call these different things. And the people who buy into that are those very useful idiots. So if you're not
what
part
Epic
of
is
that
saying,
binary conversation,
I want to point out that what Epic is saying is very real, because today, ever since this indictment, I've looked at some of these boards. I go around and look at boards, and I started seeing all these people starting to post this shit like the storm is here and all this shit. And I'm telling you right now, they're going to take this Trump thing and try to whip up this white Christian uprising. They've already been establishing the groundwork over the last year by calling this particular group the number one threat to America. So they're right now saying that Trump's white Christian army is going to come forth now. They've had enough.
Well, I can tell you, as one of these born again fundy Christians, I can tell you right now, one of the reasons I called in is because people like Epic Journeyman, when I take a look at his head and he can't see how corrupt the FBI has become, all the investigations, all the child trafficking, the Jewish oligarchs that pulled off a coup in 2020, the flooding of illegal immigrants, what they're mutilating children, everything's piled up. When the power goes out, what you're talking about, Jimmy, is I run into an Epic Journeyman when the power's out.
You're narrating. Where's the debate? Where's the debate, and when do I get to ask you a question?
I'm saying is
there was a debate, right?
The debate is
why you're not abiding by the rules, and the moderators aren't enforcing the rules.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I was interested.
Okay, go ahead.
I was interested in the conversation, so I'm sorry I didn't jump in there and try to push you guys back. Okay, listen. So, Epic Journeyman, I was
punching him too many times, and he had to jump in. That's what happened.
It's like remember that boxing game, body blow. All right, listen. Epic Journeyman wants to ask the hijacker a question, and so Epic Journeyman, Rio, are you on the clock? Epic Journeyman gets
I'm on the clock.
All right, so Epic Journeyman gets 30 seconds to answer the clock. Start exercising your mute button power over there.
I already have.
All right. So Epic Journeyman gets to ask hijacker a question. He gets 30 seconds to ask, and hijacker has a minute and 30 to answer. Are you ready, Epic Journeyman, to ask the question? Epic Journeyman, are you there?
Epic, you're muted.
Here I am. All
there you go.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready to ask your? You ready to ask your question?
Yes, I do.
So my 30 seconds.
30 seconds. It's three parts. Hijacker, do you follow QAnon? That's the first part.
No, I've never done it. I figured out QAnon.
No. That's
one half hour.
The question isn't done yet. I have 30 seconds, right?
Right. Keep going. Get another 30 seconds.
So we're gonna start over. Okay. So let's say you say you don't follow QAnon. All right. So let's start again.
I could vouch for that. I could vouch for that because hijacker has never supported QAnon. I've heard him on the air.
I knew what it was from the very beginning. Okay. It took me 1/2 hour. That's all it took.
All right.
That's all I gave QAnon.
All right. Hijacker, stand by. All right.
So we're gonna go back to something.
Get to the question, man. Quit the hypothesizing and red herring, man. Go ahead.
The question is, if two people, exactly what I said earlier, if two people stole something, and the sheriff of the town, the Old West, told them, if you just give it back, we won't charge you, and one person gives it back and the other person doesn't, is the person who doesn't guilty of a crime? Stealing from the bank, in this case. That's my question.
If he doesn't give what's this? What is this type
of... So two bank
Repeat
robbers
the question.
Work together.
Repeat the question.
They rob money from the bank in Tombstone, Arizona. And the sheriff rides out to their hideaway and says, look, man, I know you guys are desperate. If you just give the money back, we won't charge you.
He's saying, let me
the
just,
other one doesn't.
without
Does
all,
the one who doesn't give the money back deserve to be charged?
without all the
Well,
scripting, he's
okay.
saying Biden.
Right, I
there's-
get it.
Yeah.
Under the old West rules, where a man was his word or whatever, if the chief law enforcement came out and said, "Look, we got a deal. Well, we're going to politicize this a little bit, give the money back," and one gave it back and one didn't. Yeah, the one that didn't, he can be charged. What's the problem?
Okay, there you go. That's a minute and a half. There you go. Fine. That's my question. You answered it. On the next question, you asked me that.
All right,
That's the question, really.
Well, it's going
question,
somewhere.
Well,
Trust
the
me,
question, the question is because the reason he's asking that question is because obviously, all these other cases revolving around these documents where they found the documents by the Corvette in the garage and all this stuff. They said, "Give me those documents," and those people gave them back. But when they said, "Give me those documents to Trump," he didn't give them back. And that's
we know the FBI is thoroughly corrupt. They're
right.
letting
There's no question.
pornography and
Right.
child trafficking ring.
The
Right.
narrative,
They're allowing
narrative,
bribery.
not part of the debate. No,
That's no
No,
question.
no. You're talking about
narrative.
There's no
That's not
question.
part of
There's no
debate.
question. But that's not what I was saying though. But the point is there's no question that there's activity going on. But the main issue around the Trump thing is that what they're going after him for, hijacker, is obstruction of justice. It's like when they prosecuted that lady for stock insider trading. They got her on
give
some.
me a 30-second question for Epic.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, you ready? Epic,
Okay.
stand by. Epic.
Here you go, Epic.
Rio,
Rio. Here's the question.
Rio, set the
Name
clock.
me somebody that has exposed the deep state more than Donald Trump. Name me somebody that's completely, and in fact, they actually gave us the name Deep State. They exposed the fake media, and all in 4 years before the whole world, Donald Trump did more to expose by self. They self did it, the deep state, than Donald Trump. Can you name me anybody else that has exposed the worldwide satanic deep state system more than Donald Trump? Who would that be?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of questions there that are. There's not one question. The first question that has to be answered before I can answer that is, what is the deep state? I mean, I don't mean to answer the question.
No, we're not going to get. You know what it is. A shadow government,
No,
unseen hand.
Because the original deep state is something that evolved from the Nixon administration, and so all the people who came forward and testified.
Wow, Epic! You don't even believe in the deep state. Oh, come on.
No. Hey, I didn't say that. I'm saying that the definition I don't believe in. What I'm saying is the people who exposed the deep state first and best were the people who testified against Nixon in the hearings held against him. That is where the deep state was exposed. The people who did it, the lawyers who came forward, are the ones who actually exposed deep state far more than anybody in the Trump administration ever did.
You know, Epic, Jimmy Jean's right.
Yeah.
There is something breeding in the population where we're so angry. But I can tell you this, if the power went off and I came across somebody like you, that your head is so screwed up that you actually, and I don't know why, I'm trying to figure out why I'm thinking maybe it's because you work for a government contract or you're worried about.
Man.
But
So what's
anyways,
your question? What's your question? This is a narrative again. Moderators, please.
Sorry about
Narrative.
that.
Literally, you would be a very dangerous
I have to
person.
moderate myself. No, you are narrating. You're arguing. That is not debating. You have to ask a question. You have to specify the parameters of the question. I'll answer the question. When I ask you a question,
the question
I
is,
answer
why
the way
can't I
that
see? Why can't you see how like what Bruce was talking about? Our whole country is going down the tubes, mutilating children, abortion, corrupt FBI, judges, the whole thing is rotten. I mean, you just take a look at the whole
core.
thing. What is it?
Sorry, man. You're echoing right-wing talking points like you've been listening to Bannon's war room.
No, it's not right-wing. This is the truth. That's the point.
I'm telling you right now, this is propaganda. You're listening to propaganda. The very point I made.
Oh, you don't think
answer? The very first answer.
FBI is
Hold
not
on,
corrupt?
I have a right to respond.
Hold on.
Moderate. Let me moderate myself here.
Go ahead.
Look at this. I told you that it was a propaganda, mimetic engineering campaign designed to split and divide America. I told you that, right? And I told you how they were doing it, right? And I absolutely stand by that. And if for you not to see it, my question back to you, since you had a lot of time to narrate here, is how do you not see that? Do you know what mimetic engineering is? And can you describe it to me? That's my question. 1 minute and a half to answer.
Oh, yeah. No, we were talking BLM. You're saying that it was the Republicans in Bannon that came up with BLM to split us. It was the Republicans in Bannon and all the rest of them.
You heard the question, right? Mimetic engineering, you know what it is and how to describe it. Do you know what it is and how to describe it?
It's data mining. It's using, going in and it's all the data that gets online, which I granted Trump campaign in 2016, they did have a good meta campaign to get the demographics. But if you want to see the people that are actually splitting the country, it's not Trump and the Republicans. It is the Democrats with this child mutilation, with all this just drag queen story, crazy stuff.
Man,
that's what's really. That's what's dividing us.
I want to point something out, man. I want to point a moment in time out to everybody right now. Remember when Epstein got arrested, and then all of a sudden he died? Remember that? Did you notice a whole bunch of? Did you notice right after that, a whole bunch of people started acting crazy and started putting a bunch of crazy laws forward and all this shit? I mean, how much of whoever got whoever got him and his information has got something over every single one of these people. So, I mean, all these weird people coming forward with these laws and all this stuff, you're wondering, well, they're crazy. Why would they do this? How could they put something like this forward? I mean, really?
Well, Jimmy Jean, the
really,
real question is, why is Epic Journeyman a communist sympathizer? What the hell's going on here?
Oh, well, hey, okay, that's the question.
I'm sorry, that deserves a belly laugh. What the hell are you talking about?
Okay, is that the
know
question?
Anything about me or what?
He's no comment. No, you side with the Biden and the communists every single time. There's something wrong with you.
All right, so is that the question? Is that the question?
Yeah,
Biden,
it's my turn.
are you? Hold on.
Yeah, right. He has a term for question, right?
Hold on. Are you a communist sympathizer, Epic Journeyman? That's the question. Rock and Rio.
No, I am not.
Set the clock. Set the clock.
How to elaborate?
So, mimetic engineering is evolving off of the theory of memes developed by the atheist pedophile Richard Dawkins of Oxford infamy, which is junior satanic institution to Harvard. So the whole theory of mimetic engineering is itself mimetic engineering.
Yeah, it is. You're 100% right on that, man. And it's like what I say was when you notice the LARP somewhere else, you might well look around yourself and ask yourself if you're in the LARP, you know. But anyway, and when you go down to L.A. and you go to the Universal tours, you know, you go through the movie set. And you see the movie set there. You see the town square. You've seen it a million times on a million different movies. Yeah, and then you look around. You say, "Wait a minute, man. Maybe everywhere I'm on the set now. Everywhere I go, everywhere is a movie set."
Well, Jimmy Jean, just a 10-second question to Epic.
No, you have a 30-second question.
Yeah, I have a question.
I think Epic. What we're expressing, Hijacker and I
got it.
Is the incredible surprise. The incredible surprise we have.
I haven't answered yet. Still
the subtlety and the dexterity of the mind that could dissect Manson, Laurel Canyon, the Playboy Mansion, Michael Aquino. But what's going on today? You're like an 8-year-old. You don't see it. This is what is amazing.
Well, the thing is he's from where he's sitting. You don't see it.
Exactly right.
From where he's sitting, based on everything you just said.
No, Jimmy Jean.
Hang on a second. Hang on a second. What I'm saying is, what you guys don't see, you and Bruce both, what you don't see is what Epic sees. And Epic sees it from a different perspective than you do, because he has an understanding of the psychological manipulation that goes on in the battlefield of the 21st century, man. What I'm saying is, he's saying that no matter how you may feel for whatever given moment, for whatever story motivates you emotionally in a certain direction, Hijacker, I mean, you named all the things that piss off a particular group a minute ago. Abortion, the borders. If it was mainstream political talkstream radio and I brought up abortion or the border, the phones would be jammed all day with people screaming and yelling about it. So what the point is those memes, that mimetic engineering for that particular behavior around certain issues is what Epic is talking about. And he's saying that there's propaganda being used and that Trump is the implement of that propaganda. Now,
right, but
go ahead and ask your question.
Let me one question. What I'm saying is what Bruce McDonald is saying, and I can do it in one question. So you got to pick one, Epic Journeyman. Either you pick Trump and his old crew, including Kushner and the right-wing Zionist, that administration, or the Biden and this communist Zionist Bolshevik administration. You got to pick one right now. Who would you pick, Biden or Trump? If you could basically right now switch them out, switch the whole crew out, warts and all, which one would you pick? And you got to pick one.
Did I not just spend the last hour talking about binary?
You won't answer it. That's it.
No,
he did.
There's something wrong with you.
I didn't know.
Okay, so here's my point.
You
propaganda is when you spread ideas that are fundamentally false. Like one of the most effective incidental propaganda campaigns of the 20th century was Orson Welles' radio broadcast War of the Worlds. The reason it was propaganda, and that was mimetic warfare, is aliens weren't really invading the world. The reason this isn't propaganda is they really are flooding the border. They really are moving tens of thousands of children into ritual harvest and rape and sexual servitude. There really is a satanic cult running America now under Biden and Clinton and Obama. I mean, they're Satanists. They're coming right out and saying it. I mean, Hillary Clinton has openly admitted she's a member of the Church of Satan on Twitter, but she just goes with the psychological definition. Oh, Anton LaVey was about empowering self, but it's bullshit, okay? And this is the difference. It's not propaganda. It's not mimetic engineering. It's disclosure. And you're doing a disservice when you call it mimetic engineering and propaganda.
Well, it's my turn for questions. They're still debating, I think. So, well, what I want to say is I covered this, and you did say that I covered it. So thank you for that, Bruce. No, I'm trying to get away from that binary interpretation, of course, right? I don't have to choose Biden. That's a silly question. I don't want either one of them. The lesser of two evils is still evil. I don't want evil. That's my answer. That simple question I've answered several times already. What I'm saying here, and I'll put it this way about Trump and why Trump is evil and why I think I mean he's literally evil in the sense that maybe he's not deliberately evil. It's just his nature, right? Is that he will destroy the planet. He will literally destroy the planet before he admits that he's wrong. He is a personification of what in the Bible is called the lawless one, the son of perdition. That's who he is. He's what Aleister Crowley called the impetuous child in the Age of Horus. That's who he is. He's the embodiment of that. And his dad sent him to that military school to get him the F away from him because he couldn't handle it because he knew that's who he was. He's the guy who will break every toy and kick everybody out of the sandbox and play with those toys and then just go, not even knowing why it was fun to play in the first place.
How many wars did he start? How many wars did he start when he was president? Right now, Biden's got his own verge of thermonuclear war.
Hang on a second.
I have a question. So my question.
What are you talking about?
I have to add the narrative because you had a lot of narrative time. So I'm going to add that narrative to explain. So my question to you is, then, if you, what is it about Trump? What is it that he can do wrong that you'll finally break from him? What can he do wrong that is morally and psychologically, spiritually wrong at a core level? What can he do?
Epic, you haven't heard. Listen, Epic. I am not.
No, serious question. What is it?
Let me answer the question. I renounced Trump many months ago. In fact, I renounced Trump after he did the mass injection.
Yeah, he did, man. I got
unpardonable sin. In other words, I'm not a Trump supporter.
He's not.
No, I'm not. No, I don't want that guy anywhere near the White House again. But what I'm
just
saying
like I don't want Biden in the White House either. I don't want. Yeah, exactly. So it's not a binary choice.
Well, hang on a second.
What Bruce is saying, when you take these two people and you put them together, one is night and day. Even though they're both evil, and he's a narcissist. He's all about himself. I got his game now, but but for you not to see that we've got a communist coup
You said
and
I
a
don't see them.
takeover.
I don't get that. I do
There's
see-
something wrong with you. You can't.
What's wrong?
Children are being mutilated. We're bringing in fifth armies.
What's wrong with me? That's my
Fifth
question.
column
What's wrong with me?
people.
What's wrong with me? What,
So
what
I
don't
let-
I see?
It's interesting that the level of evil you applied to Trump, I would apply to Biden, Clinton, and Obama. They would be my sons of perdition. They would be my jokers who take half the mob's money in Gotham just to burn it. They're demons.
What?
They're literally demon-possessed people. I'm being literal now. I'm not being figurative. They commiserate with demons. They've made pacts with the dark side.
Well,
They're
listen,
anti-light. They're anti-life.
I can tell.
Trump I just see as a buffoon, a recreational narcissist, but he loves life and he loves the world and he loves America. That's the difference. I don't buy your son of perdition thesis, Epic.
He doesn't give a F about America.
He doesn't.
Come on now. He doesn't.
Come on,
he's
dude.
just totally self-absorbed.
Listen,
He's
man,
embodiment of self-absorption.
this is exactly. Let me just point out that this.
He doesn't give an F about America. Unbelievable.
Listen to this.
Look at the energy costs. Look at all the stuff that he did. Come on.
Listen to me.
Wait.
Something's wrong with you, buddy.
Hey, listen to me.
Are you taking money?
No, listen. I'm the moderator, so let me moderate.
Straw man. It's one of the arguments, right? No straw man arguments. That's part of the rules.
Listen to
Enforce
me.
it, guys.
I'm telling you
Moderators.
something. Listen, this whole thing started out with us talking about people being able to selectively enforce some shit just to entangle you in a legal battle for your freedom to stay out of prison. And so, but what I want to point out is the reason that we're not talking about that is because the word Trump got mentioned in it, and because I mentioned Trump in it, the whole conversation diverted away from our rights being taken away and for you being recorded every time you're anywhere and for that to be used against you. And at this point, if I got enough pictures of your face, I can pretty much make you do anything. I think there's a story out there where people are putting porn, people's faces on porn and then using it to blackmail them. So it looks like we got a caller. Hijacker.
Ohio called back.
Oh, Ohio. Okay. Listen, Hijacker, we're coming up on the top of the hour. Listen, here's the thing. It's you and Bruce. I'm staying neutral over here because I'm neutral. I hate both of them. I hate Trump.
Me
I hate
too.
Biden. Okay, I don't believe in
Me
this.
too.
I don't believe in this government, Hijacker. And I think you know.
I'm with you.
I
There's
think.
nothing you said I don't disagree with.
Yeah,
right?
no,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm saying, Hijacker, listen to this here. Let me just throw this out there before the top of the hour. So check this out. So in the old days, they used to have to send a guy. You know, we'd vote a guy to be our representative. You know, he'd go up there to Washington D.C. for us, and he'd tell them, you know, how we felt down here about what the farmers wanted, what this guy wants, what we wanted here, and that was our representative. And you used to have to ride a horse up there and sit up there, you know, this and that, go through all these changes. Okay, and we've continued to vote these fools into the office, but we don't really need them to go to Washington D.C. anymore. I think we've reached the age of electronic anarchy, because there's no way to avoid the fact that every single one of us is going to be facially recognized. Every single one of us is going to have a retina scan. Every single one of us is going to have a positive ID, because once people start getting deep faked by the AI, people are going to be clamoring for positive ID. So you make sure you know it's me that came out of that bank, okay? With those, you know, I didn't rob the bank, but they could put your face right on there, Hijacker. They could just get you getting out of a cab. They can make you look like you're cheating on your wife with this deep fake. And so people will be clamoring for it. We got to understand that we're going to have to do it. If you avoid
well, Jimmy Jean, one of the reasons that you're a must listen to every Friday night, why I tune in, is because you guys go deep on the AI. And the AI is it's even me, who's a Luddite, who can't use computers, who's dyslexic. I'm scared. I'm seeing this AI now. Mr. Rowe played a broadcast during his Rose Corner about the future of AI with these big brain guys, and it is frightening.
Well, tell you what,
the world that we're coming into.
Why don't you stick
Completely
around?
Terrifying.
Why don't you stick around for the next hour here coming up, and we'll talk some more about getting into some of this AI let's move away because I don't want to feel Epic was kind of going one against both you and Bruce there, you know. So let's take a breather here at the top of the hour, come back, and let's start talking a little bit about this AI overlay.
Yeah, I agree, Jimmy Gene. It'll get overheated because when the power goes off, I run into Epic Journeyman. I'm not going to take my gun off him. I'm going to be scared of him.
Well, let me just tell you this. Let me just tell you this, bro. He believes and loves his country and loves America, and he spent a lot of his life
and in the country,
making
us
trying to help make us safe. So
there's something wrong with him. He cannot see what the rest of us are seeing, and for him to
on the outro, what is it that I don't see? I don't understand what you're thinking. I don't see.
I mean, you can't see that the 2020 election was a landslide election. It was ripped off. Come on.
Well, that's nonsense. So let's go to something else. What about this Democrats?
You can't see the FBI as corrupt as it is. You can't see Biden taking money from Chinese and Ukrainians and everybody else.
Oh yeah,
you can't see it. Just a dripping corruption.
If you want to go there, I'll just tell you this, man. The whole Russian thing against Trump was a setup for the enemy to be Russia because Biden had so much dirty laundry over there in Ukraine, and when Trump started bringing that stuff up and that guy got fired and all that stuff, this whole thing's been planned for a really long time,
for Epic not even to see the genocide that's happening to the Ukrainians over there.
Well, hey,
there's genocide of the Ukrainians.
He's going to blame the Russians for it. Unbelievable.
Yeah, damn straight I will. I'll go fight for Ukraine right this minute if I could. You better damn well believe it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
All right. 100%. Listen, whoa, man, you just got hijackers, hackles.
Yeah.
Hijackers, hackles
hate my guts now. But yeah, no, absolutely. I'd use my ACANT, it's called acoustic intelligence, to give them a submarine and go sink the Black Sea Fleet. You better damn well believe I would. 100%.
Damn. That's wild. Bruce, you just missed some wild conversation. All right, listen.
I came back up from the nephews who've gone to bed after watching the latest Fast and Furious.
All right, well, listen. We're at the top of the hour.
No stakes. Don't go for the lads.
Hey, when we come back.
I gotta hide in corners in a 4-building compound now. My family's here.
The Jaguars. Yeah, I think
all right, listen. When we come back, we're going to talk about the AI, and we're going to AGI, and we're going to talk about the overlay. We're going to talk about, listen, like I said earlier, every time you get in a conversation about a specific thing, all you got to do is trigger somebody by saying one word. One word's all you got to say. People get triggered, man. And you're not telling me that's not a psychological operation? All I got to say is Trump. It's into the microcosm. The hijacker and the Epic Journeyman, Bruce McDonald, epic 3-way debate. Woo! That was some good radio, boys. Thanks for being here.
I took my few belongings, we headed out to Pirates Cove. In my buddy's old Defender, we ran until the gas got low. We were flying close to heaven, everything was starting to close.
Revolution Radio, Independent Broadcast Network.
Sunset, rolling 'cause we had to roll. I think he was a preacher, but Lord, I can't recall his name. lost a wheel in Santa Cruz, so we partied with some motel mates. My friend said I don't like mine, so what do you say we trade? She was a part of my heart, now she's just a line in my face. They let us go with a warning, said we'd book you but we don't have a case.
It's Friday night. It's into the microcosm. Mine's Jimmy.
The cold wind snaps my hair behind me, but I don't feel a thing. The apprehension that grows inside me has got me on a string that ties me to my fate, dictates me, that tries to compensate, yet makes me fall, and all my fear forsakes me. Pretty soon it's gonna overtake me. That's when secret meetings with you tonight. Secret meetings, my heart is beating for you tonight. The fortune teller told me that my race is almost won, but nothing is for certain. I can't stop those things to come. The gambler tries to tell himself that his luck has just begun. He gambles on the future 'cause he can't stop those things to come. Yes, I can't stop those things to come. I can't stop for anyone. I can't stop till the deed is done. I can't stop those things to come.
That's
Yeah, I
right.
got you now.
You can't stop those things to come.
Yeah,
Hey.
so Jimmy Jean.
Yes, sir.
Okay, before we go to the AI, I got one thing for Epic Journeyman, and we're going to close this off.
All right.
This ought to be good.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
All right. Go ahead.
All righty.
Epic
So here
Journeyman.
it is.
Hold on. Epic Journeyman, are you there? Because we were all taking a break. Make sure he's back here. So he's here and viable.
I'm back. Did I get a counter question then?
Oh, yeah, no. We're going to
No,
have
no,
a
I
quick
don't.
draw. This is a quick
No,
draw.
kidding.
Quick draw,
In other words, I'm
McGraw.
going to do John Trump's epitaph, and you're going to do his epitaph. I'll go first. And
Okay.
this is coming from a guy who believes that Donald John Trump was the worst president we ever had for two reasons: the vaccine, the mass murder kill shot, and at a certain point in time, God put him in office to stop the communist takeover. And instead of using his landslide election and the power of the presidency, he turned the keys over to Biden and the 30-member Jewish Zionist Bolshevik lawyers out of Florida. They're all part of this administration now. He turned it over to them. So this is coming from a guy. But with that being said, I'm going to give Donald John Trump's epitaph, which is the greatest thing he did in his life. Quote, "Here lies Donald John Trump, the man who single-handedly, before the whole world, in 4 years, exposed, named, and revealed the entire deep world satanic pedophile deep state. That's his epitaph. He did more than anybody. Ralph Nader, step aside. Everybody step aside. It was Donald John Trump that exposed the entire worldwide deep state network. That's his greatest legacy. Now you do his epitaph.
Sure. Well, it sure sounds like
what is
is my on crazy thing on? Yeah.
Epic.
Yeah. It's easy. Grifter, traitor. That's it.
Oh.
That's all there is.
On his headstone.
Yep. You better believe it.
Right. Bruce McDonald's right. You got your 8-year-old when it comes to this. I don't get it. Something's wrong with you. Something's wrong.
There's nothing wrong with me.
The thing is,
that's who he is.
Hey, S90. Good.
Oh, I forgot. The 9-year-old Arrested Development, grifter, traitor.
Listen,
yeah, maybe give him 10. Give him
listen, man. Listen.
It's that sexual
who exposed the deep state more than Donald John Trump? Name me somebody.
I'm going to tell you who. I'm going to tell you.
Nixon administration.
I'll tell you who exposed it. I'll tell you who exposed the. Want me to tell you who exposed the deep state? You want me to tell you?
Gordon Maxwell.
More than Donald Trump.
Prima Fly.
It was the collective consciousness of the Q operation that perpetuated a lot of the normalization of the word satanic panic. Most of the reason that all of this has been normalized in regular conversation. So in other words, everybody you talk to knows that there's blood-guzzling Satanists kidnapping children everywhere. It's become like that. It's just another blood-guzzling Satanist kidnapping a child. Because it's been normalized to the point, and you can normalize it and talk about it until you're blue in the face and you're done talking about it, and you're never going to stop it by talking about it.
Actually, that's really good, Jimmy Jean. I think you almost did beat me, but let's hear from Bruce McDonald, because I think
Mel Gibson has a 4-part documentary coming out on child trafficking. I just saw an advertisement for it, but
The thing is, don't you guys, Bruce? I'll let you finish, but I'm bringing up the Mel Gibson thing because it's coming out, and I understand that. But let me ask you a question: there's a big difference between pedophilia and pederasty.
Well, let me the pederasty.
Hold on a second. So there's a big difference between those two things, but people don't make a distinction between it. It has a big difference between what happens to the person that's being offended to the person.
Well, say it again, Jimmy Jean. I'm not getting. I knew pedophilia. What's the other?
Pedophilia is the love of children, and pederasty is the hatred of children.
No.
One and the same.
I just looked up that you're actually misleading people there, Jimmy.
Well, I'm just trying to
is a sexual relationship between an adult man and a boy. The term pederasty is primarily used to refer to historical practices of certain cultures, particularly ancient Greece and ancient Rome. In most countries today, such relationships are illegal. No, that's not what pederasty is. Pederasty and pedophilia are synonyms. Pederasty denotes, it refines pedophilia by denoting a male-on-male relationship. Pedophilia could be young girls or young boys.
Right, and that's what I thought.
The pederast in classical terminology is the penetrator, and the catamite is the receiver.
Right.
So
it has to do with specifically with ritual sex magic, Bruce.
Right. Well, Bruce, you're
pederasty.
To Donald John Trump.
All sex with children is rooted in magic, even if it's done unconsciously. Okay, it's the energy they're attracted to. It's not the physical form. It's not an aesthetic sensibility. Maybe with the Greeks, but the Greeks, it wasn't really pedophilia. They liked the boys right after puberty, around 14 or 15. So it's a little bit different. Okay. The prepubescent thing is the real magical circles, okay? That's where you get into the deep magic, And really, it's a form of energy harvesting. You're
Right.
taking the Kundalini energy at the base of the spine. It's the ultimate form of theft because that energy is necessary to grow into a proper adult. So, and let me be clear about this. It is not propaganda that there is an epic of satanic ritual abuse on this planet. It is a
Pederasty.
fact. Okay? The satanic panic of the 80s was a preemptive cover-up when they still had the power to see the future, when the those looking boxes or yellow boxes were still working, so they could preempt things. They lost that ability about a decade ago. Nobody's been able to see the future since about 2012. You talk to any psychic, okay? Something happened. This is why everybody's talking about timelines now. This is why a charlatan like Andrew Bartzis is making money.
Listen,
okay?
the timeline, the shift that you're talking about didn't happen in 2012, man. It happened in 1999 going into 2000 is when everything changed. There was an astronomical alignment that happened at that particular midnight going into the year 2000. And ever since then, we've been in this situation that we're in. Everything changed in that moment. Everything changed from 1999 into the year 2000. Literally.
Yeah. I would agree with you. Okay, so I was off by a decade. But what I was reading was saying that most of the military report, none of you see 2012. That's what's coming out, okay? Now, that's a compromised source, military remote viewers. I mean, how much can you trust what they're saying, right? But make no mistake about it. This satanic ritual abuse cult is so big now, you could actually say the world is a human cult, is a pedophilia network masquerading as a human culture. It's epidemic, okay? Every single person on this call has probably, by 6 degrees of separation, come into contact with somebody deeply involved in it, and we didn't know when we met them. That's how epidemic it is. And it's not a panic. It's not like the 80s. This is real, okay? Now, the timing, well, the Christians say Book of Revelation and everything. The Vedics say, well, all the negative is bubbling up now because we're going actually from Kali Yuga to Sat Yuga. We're going into a golden age. And it's like a final disclosure of the age, and everything has to be admitted. It's kind of like the cosmic version of Bishop Tudu's Truth and Reconciliation hearings in South Africa, okay? That's what's going on. So it's actually a good thing what's going on, but I cannot...
The revealing.
Yeah, the reveal. Most people aren't going to make it, because the golden age only gets reseeded with people who get their consciousness back into source connection, because you're of no value to the golden age if you're not there. They only want enlightened beings to start the new golden age. So that's the way it works. Those of us who don't achieve it, we die. And that's all. And then we start. I'm going to lose you here, hijacker, but I will point out that they took reincarnation out of the Christian teachings in 553 in the Council of Nicaea. So reincarnation used to be taught in Christianity, but at a certain point, we'll start reincarnating around the end of the Golden Age or coming into the Silver Age, where our karma meets the opportunity to grow and learn.
Well, I got to say this. One thing's for certain. We're definitely all going to die at some point. So there's no question about that. But when and how is, that's the question. So hopefully peacefully, go peacefully in the night. And
Jimmy, for you, it's going to be the butler with a candlestick in the kitchen.
Could be. You never know. All right, listen.
Well, I mean, it's real close, Jimmy.
I know.
I mean, if you think about...
Listen, I will tell you this, hijacker. Let me just tell you this. The thing about it is that there's a small segment of the population in the world that pays attention to what's going on, like a lot of people do around the alternative media and the independent media. There's a lot of people that do.
Yeah, 3-4%. Yeah,
right. But the most of the world has no idea about any of this stuff. And they're just walking around, and, their son's playing baseball this weekend, and, some dude's going to have a barbecue, and they're going to, some other guy's going to take his motorcycle out and go motorcycle riding, and some guy's going to go surfing or whatever. You know what I mean? So the
Yeah,
thing is,
narcissism, Satanism, materialism, narcissism taking over. But yeah, you're right.
well, I mean, you
Even
can
the
say
Ukrainians,
that. You
take a
can
look at
say
the
that.
Ukrainians.
You can say that, dude. But listen, we were bringing it up earlier. It's all a matter of perception and perspective, you know. So the thing is on the one hand, you have the movie The Matrix that everybody quotes, and maybe the scene that is most important to me in that movie is the part where the guy realizes that knowing the truth, he's floating around in the dark eating gray slop. He'd rather be in the Matrix eating a steak, living the high life. You know what I mean? Ignorance is bliss is what he says as he chews that big juicy steak in the Matrix. Now, we're in the Matrix.
You ought to play that 1.5-minute clip, Jimmy Jean.
I will.
That is epic when he cuts that porterhouse steak.
Yeah.
And he lifts it up.
Yeah.
And he goes, "I know this is not real, but I don't care."
That's right. That's right.
You're right.
And listen, I'm going to tell you right now, the majority of people would rather live like that. You know, the majority of the people, they don't want to know that their cell phone's giving them, you know, sickness and cancer. You know what I mean? They'd rather just use their cell phone, not know, and then just end up as one of the 4 out of 5 people that get cancer. You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
that was my hardest lesson. I wasted my life. I went after these 435 congressional conservative councils. When I realized now is that these 300,000 pastors that all shut their churches because of the clot shot, and they walked away. They didn't do anything about abortion. They're not doing anything about the children being mutilated. That tells me, basically,
listen,
human beings got a character flaw. We're every man for themselves. We're only out to build our own kingdom, our own business. We're really selfish creatures. It's amazing we made it this far. It's amazing that God even loved us, or that He would even save us.
You got to be 16.
Dumbfounded.
You got to be 16 years old to get a driver's license. You got to be 18 years old to join the military. You got to be 36 inches tall to ride a roller coaster. Okay, why
42
why are our children even in that other conversation thinking that they can make decisions for themselves on that? And why is that even being offered as a choice? In other words, you don't have why do you have a choice because of modern technology? I mean, why should that be a choice? In the old days,
this goes to the fundamental question that Bruce McDonald posted or talked about a week or so ago. He says when he goes on the internet, and you can check me, Bruce. He says when he goes on the internet, basically it separates into 2 different worlds. One are the people that are righteous, that believe in God, faith, that type of thing. Doesn't matter what faith or whatever. Other words, the good people. And then the other people that are materialistic, hedonistic, anti-God. So it's God and anti-God. And so when I ask Epic Journeyman, well, let's judge the world and let's judge who should be in power on who's doing the best for the children. And then I put up Biden administration, which are mutilating, trafficking children, $100 billion a year, sex trafficking. Which side is he going to be on?
There's no evidence for that. Hijacker, there's no evidence that is.
Yeah, there is.
State
come on.
source.
There's a problem with that.
State your source.
There's a big.
All I'm asking for.
If you start saying that, hold on a second.
It better not be the frickin' Gateway Pundit or one of these other frickin' blogs.
If you start saying that,
what's your source?
If you hold on a second, I'm going to give you some source right here. If you start bringing up that and saying that didn't go on with Trump, then you should take a look at Epstein's girl. Hold on a second. You should take a look at Epstein's girlfriend and Trump's ex-wife going around and picking up young girls in New York for trafficking and all kinds of prostitution. And you know what? She fell down the stairs and broke her neck.
Well, you know, Milena, which is Trump's wife, you know, she was a Lithuanian girl that was sex trafficked, and Trump had, I don't know, she pleased Trump or she somehow got him, but Trump actually rescued her.
Did you know Trump? Did you know her mother and father were brought into the country with the very same immigration rules that Trump was saying he was against?
I'm not going to defend
and
Trump,
listen to
but
this.
I'm just saying,
Hey,
when it comes
hijacker,
down to
hijacker.
black and white, what Bruce McDonald talked about, godless versus God,
Dude, listen,
children
dude.
versus anti-children.
Dude.
Epic Journeyman, he lines up with the godless people
Dude,
that want to
shut-
feed off the children.
Where did I
Dude,
ever
he's
say that?
totally
Well,
Christian.
You are
I
quoting Rick.
graduated from a Christian school. I know the
He's a
Bible better
Christian.
than anybody on this panel, and I can prove it. You know, and so for you guys to say that
I
is
ain't
so out
saying
of
it.
line
I'm not
and
saying
so
it.
wrong that I do have to stick up for myself a little bit here. I went to a school where John Avanzini, who started the RBN network, was the minister who ran that school. Okay, I had all these people, Kenneth Copeland, all these people. I've met them, Jerry Seville, all these people. I've been in their presence. I've been shook hands with them. You know what? You guys don't know what you're talking about, and I do in this particular case. So when you say that I don't know what I'm talking about, you don't know my background, and all I'm saying is, and the reason I got loud is to defend myself because I just have to put you in your place a little bit. You don't know me. You don't know where I came from. No. And for you to judge me like that is absolutely wrong. And that's
You just told me all the people you met, they all have Nephilim blood. So now the question is
you know
that
about
the problem
Nephilim?
you got?
Wait, hijacker. Do you think you know more about Nephilim than me? I think this is a really bad argument for you. I'm gonna prep you ahead of time. This is a really bad place for you to go.
I'm with Epic on this one. I'm with Epic on this one.
Yeah. Seriously, and I don't mean that as an insult. I don't mean it's just I have 23 years of research on this. Don't go there. That's probably not the place.
Either that, why don't you ask Epic a question about the Nephilim?
Well, if we don't go on, that's going to be a show, right?
Well, I'm just saying, I'm just saying, do it right now on the spot. Hijacker, ask Epic a question about the Nephilim.
So when you met all these high-powered people, Copeland and all the Hagee, all the people.
Ask him about the Nephilim.
I didn't say Hagee.
The Nephilim.
I am.
All right.
When you met all these people, you didn't see that they had like reptilian type eyes, Epic? You couldn't see that they're people?
I was a kid. I was in high school, high school actually at the time when I met them.
Oh, then you wouldn't have saw it. You wouldn't have.
Well, no, I had spiritual discernment. I knew that they were bad people. Absolutely. I had what's called spiritual discernment because that's one of the gifts of the Holy Spirit. I had that. I still have that.
So if you're looking at these 300,000 pastors that all closed their churches, that went along with this death shot, didn't do anything about abortion.
Why do you call it a death shot? By the way, what's your that's like a buzzword, right? I'm just saying, like, don't call it a death shot.
It is a death shot.
Give another moral reason.
Look, man, listen. We're gonna talk about the AI, and somehow now we're back. We're back.
Yeah, we're probably gonna get bumped if we do that. You're right, Jimmy. You're jeopardizing.
No, that's kind of where I was going. I'm sorry, hijacker. That's the reason I went with that on that particular subject.
And listen,
this is Epic Journeyman. You believe that this magical little punch they do to the arm is actually good or bad?
I didn't say that.
Well, what is it?
I'm saying we don't want to talk about
was
that.
it good or was it bad?
No, what it said is we're on YouTube. We can't talk about that.
Right. Well, just tell me whether the little punch to the arm was good or bad.
Well, it depends what it is. If you're trying to evade smallpox, it's good. You know, smallpox is
no, just what happened. I'm talking about.
I'm giving you a fact. Smallpox was eradicated from the planet in 1971 because of inoculation.
No, I'm saying this latest
bane of mankind that wiped out a third of the world's population at any given
generation. The latest punch to the arm. We all know what it is. We're not going to speak it, but was that the punch to the arm, the latest one, good or bad? I'm not talking about smallpox. I'm talking about that particular one. 2019.
I'm totally against the genetically altered mDNA stuff. Yeah, absolutely. But that doesn't mean that all inoculations are bad. It doesn't.
No. At least you're redeemable. At least your mind's not.
Vaccine isn't an inoculation. A vaccine is not an inoculation. A vaccine is a remedy. An inoculation is a little bit of the disease to stimulate your immune system to build a natural remedy. Big difference. You got to get the words are important.
Yeah, we can't say that word on YouTube. That's what I'm saying. So you see what I'm saying? So. So that's our issue. But no, this has been monopolized for political gain on both sides, and it's kind of bizarre because it's the one thing that both sides tended to agree at the time was a good thing, the Operation Warp Speed, and now it's become this other thing that is a hit against.
Here, I'm gonna listen. This is I made this when it was going on. Okay? And it's not going on now, but I still play it because I like to listen to it. And Hijacker, everybody take a listen to this. Here we go.
Recognize me, it's your favorite president, and I'm standing in front of the Oval Office at the White House, which is always an exciting place to be. I got back a day ago from Walter Reed Medical Center. I spent 4 days there. I think this was a blessing from God that I caught it. This was a blessing in disguise. I caught it. I heard about this drug. I said, let me take it. It was my suggestion. I said, let me take it. And it was incredible the way it worked. Incredible. And I think if I didn't catch it, we'd be looking at that like a number of other drugs. But it really did a fantastic job. I want to get for you what I
wonder if you got like $1 an arm for that. I don't know. Who the hell knows? But the point is that just because you feel like you're on the side of good doesn't mean the other person is bad, and same vice versa. The thing is what Epic was saying.
Yeah, Trump did make money off that whole thing. We found out now.
Yeah, I mean,
with Big Pharma, no question about it.
I'll tell you what, man, Bibi Netanyahu made a killing off that over there. I'll tell you right now, he did. And then you see how he GTFO'd for a while, wouldn't kick back, and then he came back strong. But anyways, the red heifer, maybe.
Right.
I hear
America made 120 billionaires in that period of time where they shut down all the small businesses.
Yeah.
All that damage they did, the lockdown.
I'm telling you, man.
Trump he really banged us good.
Dude, when he signed
that, I will go with Epic Journeyman.
When he
did a lot of damage.
When he signed that bill for that money, I told everybody on the air it looked like he was signing America over for $7 trillion. He signed that paper like he was signing a bankruptcy hearing or whatever. And, they brought him in, to usher in the bankruptcy of the United States of America. And the whole thing is, from beginning to end, obviously this is what they call it the critical path method. Okay? So you draw a line from the beginning to the end. You put a dot at the beginning and a dot at the end, and you put dots down the line. And as you go down the timeline, certain events have to take place at certain intervals. And so we are on a critical path, and we're almost to the end of the critical path. These bullets.
Well, he's not going to make it through this. He's not going to be the nominee. It's either going to be Tucker now after the 100 million views that he got out of his first program. He's now got legitimate, massive political power. RFK or not JFK, RFK. He's got 25% on the Democratic side. He's coming up, and so we're taking a look at something.
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be Michelle Obama as the Democratic nominee.
Now, have you seen her lately? It's like what happens to all the transgenders that they age. Something about aging with transgender. Basically, if you take a look at Michelle Obama, even with all the work she's had on her, she looks like an old black man in drag.
Well, all I gotta say is
take a look at a picture of her now.
By the time the election happens, people are gonna be beaten over the head so many times with transgenderism that it's not gonna make any difference, man. That might even be the reason they're doing all this right now. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. Go ahead.
Well, that's what I said. The whole point of this medical engineering and propaganda campaign, this misinformation campaign, is about this transgenderism and this non-binary narrative, right? And by making the word binary a sin to say, essentially, because now it means has a sexual connotation.
So hey,
that's part of the working of this very campaign.
So with the AGI sitting over the top of this thing, and you have the sentient world simulation, which has an iconic representation of every human being on Earth, including psychological profile that goes along with it. And if I'm sitting there with my AI, and I sit here and have the AI say, set me off some dominoes to create a social situation across the plane, which they could do with the flick of a switch, sir, because all I got to do is say Trump, and all of a sudden, boom, this whole, for the last 2.5 hours, we've been talking about it. See, that's how quickly we got triggered. So there's a bunch of callers coming in here, Bruce. Are these new callers?
Yeah,
or?
well, that's where they're setting up Trump, Jimmy Jean.
Yeah.
I think Trump is going to get JFK'd. I think that's what they set him up for. I think that's what's coming.
I just think they're using him as a rag doll to inflame a bunch of people who've laid back and been quiet. And, lots of people have had just about enough. And I don't care what group of people you're in. It doesn't matter if you're in whatever group you're in. Your group has just about had enough of whatever it is. So it does. Literally, I would be very careful driving around and flipping a bird up in the air at this point, because literally, America is, literally devolving into, like, especially, some places in California, across the nation, there's literally mobs of teenagers just showing up and just cleaning out these stores, and right now they're like gas station, convenience store type shit. But once they realize the power of it, you could just be somewhere, just all of a sudden everybody gets a bing on their phone, and there's all these teenagers in hoodies show up with skateboards bashing out the windows, and stealing everything.
Yeah, that's
inside.
right. Yeah. No, the lawlessness is coming, which is another reason why I'm thinking if they don't JFK Trump, then they're going to bring him back. He's going to be the strong man sitting on top of the world like the Illuminati, Samuel Jackson or John Jackson's Illuminati cards, and they're going to use him to basically invoke the draft, sink a ship in the South China Sea, and basically get Trump to pit. This is Epic Journeyman's theory. Well, kind of.
I met
Get
Jackson,
all the
by the way.
boys
I played that game with
against-
him when he was first developing it, by the way.
Right, against the Chinese, because the Chinese are now bucking the Jews too. They're saying the Chinese are saying, who put the Jews in charge? And here we are, the American host. They're done with us, so they're going to slam us both into one another. And so Trump, they could bring back Trump just to get us into this world war and to completely devastate us. That will go down as his legacy. That's a possibility.
Listen, I'm telling you
Anyways, I
right
see
now.
you got calls. I'm
telling
talking too much. Go
Listen,
ahead.
I'll tell you right now. I'm just gonna say, just looking over the landscape, I see gas prices have come down. See a bunch of things starting to happen, and they're starting to move and get ready for not getting any stains on the Democratic Party coming into the election. So there's going to be an upturn in the economy if things are going to move forward. In the next 3 months, if there's no upturn in the economy and inflation doesn't come down, I think by the end of the year you may see troops in the streets in this country, because people are that pissed. Literally, it's going to take something like that to quell people. Because the thing is, it's really contagious. Like, I don't know if you've ever watched. We've done a bunch of shows on all these different riots that have broken out. Where stuff happens, and
Social contagions.
Yeah, it's a social contagion. So, like, once people start seeing other people doing stuff, then they start doing it too. It's monkey see, monkey do. And pretty soon, and like in the electronic age, I'm telling you, they just send out a text, boop, and boom, 150 people show up at some gas station and just, rob it clean it out.
Yeah, Jimmy Jean, looks like you got a call or something, maybe.
Yeah,
I'm
callers.
not sure.
Yeah, callers, come on in. Bruce, take the call. I don't know who's calling. I can't see it.
I think we have Daryl from Arkansas.
Right. Yeah. I just wanted to chime in just real quick. Back in the 2016 election, I made the suggestion that Jesse Ventura be president and Howard Stern be vice. Well, I've changed my mind. I think this next one, Howard Stern should be president and Jesse Ventura be vice. So I'll let you all ponder on that, and I'll listen.
All right, thanks for calling in.
that would actually work out.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. He's done a complete turnaround. Why is all of a sudden they used to make fun of Ellen and all this, and now he's done a total of 180. So I don't know, man. I mean, I gotta say, he's the king of talk radio, man. Everybody used to listen to Stern back in the day before he went on satellite. I mean, every FM radio was tuned into Stern in the morning. So yeah, Baba Booey. Yeah, exactly. Rock and Rio.
Best president is somebody we never heard of.
There's gonna be some good reverse speech from tonight, Rock and Rio. Next week, you got to come back with the reverse speech for the show tonight for the debates.
It's all good. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. It is. I'm positive.
So have you engineered your reverse speech to be good?
No, I didn't. I'm not that smart.
Well, we'll see. You know what? We'll see. You down with that, hijacker? I'll reverse you too.
I think we're both going to come across as sincere. I don't think there's any chicanery. Am I pronouncing that right?
No. When you get, it's
yeah.
No. Go ahead and reverse me. That ought to be interesting because I was.
All right. Well,
I was pretty angry.
Okay, next.
So when you're passionate, it always comes out best, you know.
Yeah.
It does.
Actually, that's true. When you are passionate and you're being sincere, is generally when you get the best stuff.
All right. Well, that's where
for normal people anyway.
That's where
Jimmy Jean talked about a trip word, and I don't know what Bruce McDonald said, but he said something that made me so fucking mad I had to call in.
There you go. See?
I'm sorry about that.
He got triggered. He got triggered, man. But I mean, listen,
I'm right there with you.
Listen, by pointing this stuff out is no way in shape or form saying that I'm or anybody else is immune to it. No one's immune to this. You cannot.
No.
The only way that you cannot be infected by this is to not partake in any of it. You don't watch TV. You don't watch the internet. There's so many people go, yeah, man, I don't watch TV.
Hilarious.
But they're on the internet 16 hours a day. Yeah, I quit watching TV 10 years ago. I don't even own a TV anymore. Like that's some badge of honor or whatever. Meanwhile, they're on the internet doom scrolling for 16 hours a day and then wonder why every time they put a letter into Google box, something will come up, that they're interested in.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it happens to be the same. The thing is, man, you'd have to agree with this, hijacker, is that Google gives you what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And that's why they make so much money, is because.
But now it also gets into the AI bot. I personally think that each one of us has been assigned, everybody, like the Christians say, you got a guardian angel. I'm actually starting to think, I'm coming up with this theory that each one of us, Epic Journeyman, you, Bruce McDonald, we all got a personal AI bot that's assigned to us that watches us.
I wouldn't doubt that for a second.
We do. No, that's a fact. That's not even open for debate. Sentient World Simulation started 2009, and we're called nodes on that. All right? And we are. That's we have been since then. That's true.
We all have our digital altar.
Mm-hmm.
Purdue University started it, and then it went to the Department of Defense afterwards. But we're all nodes. They call it nodes in the Sentient World Simulation, and they build this avatar of us based upon our personal data, which is only increasing in the age of personal cell phones and things like that, and our likes and dislikes and all that kind of thing. So it's utterly horrifying, and it's absolutely true.
Yeah. Well, listen. Yeah, and I mean, everybody's been psychologically profiled too. So I mean, anyone could literally be driven into a state of frothing anger out into the street, looking for their first victim.
Yeah. Well, Jimmy Jean, do you remember Joe Tones?
Yeah.
Who used to be? Yeah. So he's a big AI guy.
Mm-hmm.
Where he used to work for FEMA, and then I think he works for somebody else. I don't know what he's doing now. I haven't talked to him for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
But he's the one that came up with the slogan for Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps. But he came up with one better than that. You want to hear it, Jimmy Jean? You can steal this.
Lay it
Nobody's
on me.
got this.
Lay it on me,
okay,
man.
Here it is. Where information is the currency. How do you like that one? That's Joe Tones.
I got a better one, and I coined it 20 years ago. You know what it is? Belief is the currency of the universe. belief is a currency in the interpersonal.
That's one of the theories on the Mandela effect, and how the Mandela effect is basically happening.
Do you know that literally Epic Journeyman is literally an expert on the Mandela effect, that he moderated a page that had 250,000 subscribers.
290 something thousand. Yeah, actually.
So you just set a trigger word for Epic Journeyman. Epic Journeyman, go ahead, because I'm going to make a hot cup of coffee. And
no.
250.
It would lose some. Ah, damn it. Yeah. Well, I'm leaving it soon, and that's something that y'all mentioned on the show, and it's true. I'm leaving all social media. I'm not going to be involved. I'll be here with you guys on YouTube for these shows, but no. In the age of AI, I'm going to write a big long post for Mandela Effect, and then one on what I found about the Sinbad Genie movie missing. There's my outros, my departure from Reddit, other than questions about VR or something. But basically. In the age of AI, it's just like creating fire. The world has changed, and we're not going to be able. Something like an Instagram or I quit Twitter a year ago, but that was before even this happened. But it's just impossible to know you're talking to a real person in those kind of environments, and there's no reason to partake in them because you're just being steered by some kind of program potentially, and why be involved? It's just it's a digital vampire. So
Epic Journeyman, are you an AI a TI guy?
No, actually no. I know people who have been. I talked about it. In fact,
but I mean, what do you do for work? I'm trying to account for the missing link. What Bruce McDonald talked about. How can a man have this kind of knowledge, and yet here we are in the middle of a communist coup, Bolshevik takeover, destruction of America, and you can't see it. What do you do?
I'm not getting the Bolshevik part of it. I'm really not. But beside that, okay. So what?
I'm trying to find out.
I'm just trying to latch on to where to start because you asked a lot of stuff.
Well, the thing about it to me that is, if you respect the rest of what Epic is saying, why would you discount what he's saying now? And maybe you're wrong, and you don't see it because of your you can't see for yourself. You're looking out from your eyes. You're not looking back at yourself, hijacker. So maybe Epic's not
like
wrong.
Me saying the sky is blue. It's self-evident to me, and why he can't see. He says it's gray.
I've never said it was gray. This is what I'm not getting. Like I don't understand. Like when I'm revealing the Playboy Mansion, the Process Church, the Final Judgment, how Maury Taylor's book is bullshit, and how the Satanic Panic is based upon that. How the family by what's his face? I'll think of it in a minute. But anyway, all these books were written, and obviously the all these things about.
Bruce McDonald's right. I mean, you can't see the fact that the Satanists are ruling the world right now. Epic. You can't see it.
The Satanists always been ruling the world. Why can't you see that? That is the whole thing. It's a fall of man. That is if you study Christianity, hijacker, I am sorry, but the very principle, the founding principle of Christianity is the fall of man, which means that something outside of God, which is a non-analog creature or entity, which in this case may very well be an artificial intelligence.
Right. So what can't you see what's happening to the children, abortion, the country?
What the F are you talking about? Like this is the thing. At what point are you saying that this is some kind of ritual sacrifice?
The scripture, hold on. It's not AI. It's not AI. The scripture is very clear. The rebellion took place with the first created order of beings, which were pure spirit, and they were cast down to earth. And then man was put here to be a steward. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I mean to derail what you're saying. No, I mean I do know the spiritual side of this. I'm just saying. I use it as an example. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Continue there, Bruce. No, that's true.
AI is their invention. So yeah, I agree with what you said, Epic. They've always been running things, but there's always been wiggle room in the past. Like, I mean, we were there was, get some kind of forewarning with smoke signals when the king's horsemen were coming and go into the woods. Now they're really in their end game, is what me and Hijack are getting at.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's pretty
really
obvious
in their end game now.
The gates of
and
Hades.
It seems to be about
the gates of Hades traveling around the world, dude, like a carnival. Hey, the gates of Hades is gonna be here next week.
Right.
Come on down.
Right about that.
You know, I mean,
the gates of Hades are already here. His name's Bill.
Do we have a caller? No.
We
Okay.
did.
Gone. All right. Hey, it's in the microcosm. We got about 15 minutes left. Yeah.
Well, I
Elvis
just
left
want
the
to
building.
with the idea that what we're talking about isn't a binary thing, and I'm going to bring that term back because it's been taken away from us with this disinformation and misinformation campaigns. It's propaganda campaign. It's made this a bad word. And binary only means one thing. It means either or. That's all that it means.
Listen,
right? That's
you got to clear. You need to clear this up with the hijacker and Bruce. He said they're not. You're not suggesting that it's not going on. You're
what I'm
not
saying
suggesting.
is, it doesn't
but that's
fall
the
into a
thing is they
binary
think.
Rule.
I'm just
binary
saying.
rule.
The
Binary rule means it's either or, and it's not either or.
The perception from Bruce and hijacker, and I think a lot of people, is that you're rejecting the idea of the satanic pedophilia stuff that's going on, the child trafficking. They're saying you're rejecting that.
Because
you
do
don't
you believe that there's more slaves today than there's ever been in the history of the world?
No, what I'll say is like there's a lot of sex.
No, do you believe that? Are there more slaves today?
You didn't let me answer. What I said is what I was about to say is that there's a lot of sex trade, like sex workers who, and I use air quotes for that, who have a passport in places like Dubai, for example, who are there as a sex worker for 4 years. They get a license, they get inspected and everything, but that there is official prostitutes, right? Now, is that sex trafficking? Yes, it is. Absolutely, it is. Right? Adnan Khashoggi there's a whole thing about this, and I've gotten into it many times. But he is the absolute pinnacle of starting this kind of thing, right? It's about the gray economy, the black market economy. It's about this whole other thing about money outside of being tracked by governments in the world.
So you believe
banking. Well, let me finish on this particular point. So Jeffrey Epstein is absolutely involved in this. This is why they all went to Epstein. This is why Barr hired him. This is why all this stuff is going on, and why they met at Zorro Ranch in New Mexico with the scientists and stuff, the people from Stanford and from Harvard and everywhere else. What it's all about is it's making this extra governmental system that has a monetary system to accompany it. That is the secret of Epstein. When people see this, I mean, I'm telling you right now, and you're saying, well, who's this guy? It's Epic Journeyman. What the F does he know? I'm telling you, this is it. I've looked at it a lot. Joy Ito is absolutely involved in starting Bitcoin. This whole idea of this digital currency and this idea of going this route is all around getting us in the system where the ultra elite can absolutely hide their wealth. And that is why Epstein is so important to this. And the people are so brainwashed and distracted with these waving hands about child trafficking and stuff. They're not seeing what the real point of it is. The real point of it is that the world is about to be turned into something that we can never recover from.
That's right.
It's an eternal feudalism society where the elite, in this case, back in the day when it was just monarchies and stuff, it's a techno-monarchy that you can never rebel against, where bloodlines will control in perpetuity forever. And all of us are so distracted by stupid stuff on this binary thing that we're not going to see it, we're not going to react to it, we're not going to do anything about it.
And so you're supporting the Biden administration where
No.
all these
What are you
oligarchs
talking
are?
about? Did you just not listen to what I just said? Did you
Well,
not
I mean, you're the one
listen to what
supporting
I
it.
just said. You did not.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna put my foot down on this one.
Yeah,
You did not
hijacker.
listen to what I said.
You were waiting to talk. You weren't listening. You didn't listen.
Sorry,
That's his signature.
Bruce.
Dude, you did not listen to what I said.
Yeah, Bruce, you're hissing.
Bruce is fuzzing.
There's a hiss.
I cranked up.
There's a strange hiss.
Bruce, call and reconnect. You're breaking up and you're hissing.
Yeah, it's like the aliens in
Just call and
Vegas.
reconnect.
The aliens in Vegas.
Still got 10 minutes.
That's what everybody's talking about is the aliens in Vegas. That's all anyone's talking about. The aliens in Vegas, they landed.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
would be the last thing. Werner von Braun, he told his white blonde head secretary, Squeeze, or whatever she was, But when she testified at a UFO conference, she says the last thing is going to be the alien invasion.
Yeah.
And even Tucker Carlson's talking about it. We talk about the Vegas thing where they ran across the 10-foot giants.
Yeah, give me a break, man.
And the craft coming down. Go ahead.
I listened to that guy say his story, and empathically, I don't believe what he's saying. He doesn't come across energetically like someone who is experiencing what he said he's experienced or whatever. I don't think he's any different than the guy kicking in people's doors and stealing their dogs to get clicks on TikTok. Guys going into old lady's house and stealing her dog and running out to get clicks on TikTok.
Yeah, well, that'll end the one day he gets shot.
Well, he's not in America, that's for sure. So, gun owners, I know everybody's pissed, man, but I don't know. I don't know, man. There's been a few moments in time. There was a moment, I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was a moment when Ron Paul was really making a thrust, and it was when Alex Jones was on an upward thrust from where he was to moving into where he was going, and he surrounded the Ron Paul movement, and thing was going on right at this moment. So I don't know if you remember this moment, but there was a guy who flew a plane into the side of the IRS building in Austin. And that, you remember that?
Yeah,
I remember that.
He suicided himself because of what the IRS had done to him.
Right. That was the moment. There was so much righteous energy behind the truth movement. At that time, it was called the truth movement. There was so much energy.
Exactly. And now we got Epic Journeyman on the side of the Biden people that are hiring 87,000 IRS agents. Thanks, Epic. Thanks, man.
No, man, I swear you got Epic all wrong, dude. Just because he doesn't.
What did I do?
Just because he doesn't support Trump and what he's up to doesn't mean he supports Biden.
That's cracking me up. It's like you just gave me the either or. Yeah, I want the rule of law. I want the rule of law over lawlessness. Yes.
Anyways, Jimmy, if you're not going to go overtime, I just want to say I do appreciate it. I'm honored to be on your show.
Hey, man.
It's a must-listen to Friday night for me.
Right on.
Especially with the AI angle. Yeah. So thanks so much. I do appreciate it.
Thanks for being here.
And I'm not even on the air anymore. I'm getting off. So
yeah, I don't listen. Hey, you know what? I don't blame you. I have a lot of friends that are into doing this. They do shows regularly, and lots of people are feeling the same way that you are. It's because we've been trying to warn people and talk to people about what's going on and what's happening, and now it's to the point where if you're not hip to what's happening by now, it doesn't matter. You're better off just to be standing there barbecuing in the backyard and have a big flash of light happen, and you just get toasted then instead of wasting your
or like eating a steak in the Matrix. Just staying with it. You're right.
Well,
the information is so far ahead, you can't even catch people up. If you would actually go out and find a stranger, and you were me, and I was talking to that person, and I would try to take them to the highest levels of all the knowledge that we know, the person would walk away thinking that guy is completely crazy.
The thing is,
you're
how
right.
much
ever
research?
woke up?
When is the research going to be in? In other words, for me, the research was in like 10 years ago. I don't need to know anymore because I already know enough to, anybody in their right mind would go, I'm out of here, man. Why am I going to sit here and hook myself up to the sewage that just comes down my screen and just fills my head with negativity and shit? I'm just saying, you'd be better off, dude, to just be the dude with a beer in his hand, cooking a steak in the backyard, not knowing squat, and just have a big flash of light happen when the nuke goes off, and that's it. Because you didn't waste Listen to all the time you have with your family and your wife and on your farm up there, dude, where you live. Just think, man, if you spent, and I've done this to myself, I've thought this to myself, so I'm saying it to you. is if I spent all these hours I spent absorbing this negativity and not letting it affect my personal life, and try to keep it separate. But if I took all those hours and I was put a 2x4 together with a couple other 2x4s, I could have built myself a giant, huge house by now.
Right.
Yeah, but there's what they call sin eaters, and that's what we are. We basically buy time for the rest of the world by doing what we do. We are sin eaters in the sense that, and time equals souls. So from a Christian perspective, that's how I look at it. But now it's to the point where it doesn't matter what I do. It's not like it's going to buy any more time. I'm really thinking
well, the
that.
thing is you got to take understand that the time that you do have and whatever time is left for you and everybody else, every single day, because I survived. I had stage 4 lymphoma, whatever, and I survived it. So every single day I get, when I wake up in the morning, if I'm not in pain or agonizing pain, I'm happy.
Yeah,
man.
but Jimmy Jean, why did you survive stage 4?
Why?
What are you doing now?
What am I doing now? I don't know.
In other words, you're becoming a sin eater in the universe, changing reality, opening people's minds. And so God in his wisdom says, you know what? I'm not letting Jimmy Jean go. He's out there on the front line. He's cracking off shells. Okay. Keep him on the battlefield. So it was divine.
Well, thanks.
Anyways,
thanks
I'm
for
talking
that.
too much. Go ahead.
Thanks for that. So we're coming up to the top of the hour. Are you guys, Bruce? Are you overtime, leaning towards overtime or not?
I just want to thank Hijacker.
Yeah, me too.
Thanks for hanging in there and doing your thing. And I'm not mad at you. The whole idea of debates is to put your personal feelings aside. And I hope you did the same. So yeah, thanks.
Yeah, there's no winning or losing a debate. Okay, it's a discussion where people bring up ideas that they have. It's where we can all try to move forward and find solutions to a problem, or find a way to.
With Epic, I do keep up with Epic, as long as I also keep up with Bruce McDonald, you, Jimmy Jean. But with Epic, the problem I got is, and it's a problem I've got, like with the pastors, with the Christian conservative elite. Why didn't they organize? Why did they believe what they did? Why didn't they do this? And I just,
that's what I was saying.
I have answers for you on that, actually. I do have answers for that. I know a lot about this. I mean, no joke. I mean,
it's human nature.
Everything else aside.
That's how we survive.
There was a moment I was talking about.
This.
I was talking about a moment back there where that guy flew that plane in, and it wasn't about the 87,000 new agents. What it was about was when Ron Paul was moving forward, and then it came to New Hampshire, and he clearly won in New Hampshire, and they had him.
And he came in second in Arizona,
mm-hmm.
and he came in second in South Carolina,
and
he got $30 million, and he got off the battlefield.
That's right.
I said, my congressional district is in jeopardy. He ran back to Texas,
That's right.
And that was the end of Ron Paul.
That's right, and he left everybody standing out in the desert.
That's right. He got his $30 million check. He didn't even stick around, even though he won South Carolina. He came in second. He came in second in Arizona. First, I think, in New Hampshire. You're right, Jimmy Jean. And then he hauled ass, like all men do.
Yeah.
We seem to be cursed with personal self-interest.
There's
something about us.
I don't hold anything against a man for what he does. Okay, whatever a man does is up to him. I don't. But the thing is what people misunderstand about brotherhoods is oaths that you take. And the thing about it is, the brotherhood he particularly belongs to, his brotherhood takes priority over anything else. So he pledged an oath to obey an oath where that brotherhood will take higher priority over anything else. And that means anything else in his life, that he will make a decision that's beneficial to the brotherhood in the moment where he's asked to make that decision.
Are you saying Ron Paul's a Freemason?
Oh, yeah, definitely a Freemason.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
I should have known it.
And that's like I say, it's not to say that's bad. Lots of people say they're Christians, and they don't do good. They don't do good work. They're Christians by statement. So a man says he's a Christian. That's one thing. A man acts like a Christian and doesn't tell you about it. That's another thing.
That's right. When somebody says I'm a Christian, watch out.
That's right.
Like Mike Pence, I'm a Christian first, a conservative second, and a Republican third. Watch out. That guy's going to stick you in the back like he did to Trump.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like when the government says, I'm here to help you.
Exactly. All right, listen. Time's up. We got to blow. It's been nice,
everybody.
Nice having you here,
Jesus
Hijacker.
said, I shall make you fishers of men.
Well, there you go.
Sent to drain, secret destroyers hold you up to the flames. And what do I get for my pain? Betrayed desires and a piece of the game. Even though I know, I suppose I'll show all my cruel and cold like old Joe. Despite all my rage, I am still just a renegade. Despite all my rage, I am still just a renegade. Someone will say what is lost can never be saved. Despite all my rage, I am still just a renegade. Now I'm naked, nothing but an animal. But can you fake it for just
All right, Revolution Radio. Good night.
And what do you want? I want to change. What do you got when you feel the same? Even though I know, I suppose I'll show all my cold like old Despite all my rage, I'm still just a renegade. Despite all my rage, I'm still just a renegade.
All right. YouTube, you're all that's left. Just released the networks, and now we're here. We can relax. We're not rats in a cage anymore. S90, it's good to see you, dude, because I've been wondering where you are when I don't see you in here. So, I'm glad to see you and know that you're still kicking, and I'm wondering about Bernays Sauce, because I haven't seen him in a while.
No, we haven't. We haven't seen him or John in a while, right? So
Yeah, John. Well,
Yeah.
I pissed John off one night because he was saying something. We got onto the subject of the Playboy.
well, before we
Mansion.
even started the show, yeah, he was going off on some weird thing.
Well,
I
yeah,
remember.
and then we started talking about the Playboy Mansion, and then I said something to him. I said, "Hey, man, not everybody knows, listen to the shows." Like,
You're saying we're repeating ourselves, right?
yeah,
no,
yeah,
I remember.
he got
and-
pissed.
yeah,
and so then he hasn't come back.
Not everybody
no,
heard that.
But
It's important.
Bernays, Bernays, it was not doing too well. He went and had some surgeries and stuff, So hopefully he's all right. So I'm just
that Playboy Mansion stuff came up at work today. Check it out, dude. It came up at work today. People were asking me, "Hey, what this whole Playboy Mansion thing?" I'm like, "Oh, let me tell you."
Are you kidding, dude?
No, I'm
you're
not
being
Not kidding.
you're being gaslighted or something, dude. I mean,
Yeah, right.
no,
It's
the
like-
the
it's like,
chick with
how
the
the
tattoo.
hell has that come up?
I know
right?
the chick with
I'm
the
sure they must have heard the
tattoo.
show or
The chick with the
Yeah.
tattoo. It's like all these.
Well, she seems really nice, by the way. She really does.
Hey, I was looking at some of the YouTube analytics, and there's quite a few people listening on the islands, man. Believe it or not, there's a big island audience. Mojo over there, I know Mojo's in the islands, in the chat. Hey Luna, what's happening? Good to see you, Amber. Good to see you, Luna. Good to see you, Suzanne. Good to see you, Ronan. All right, listen, you guys. I've literally been up since 5 o'clock this morning. I know, Epic, you've been working overtime. Rio,
yeah.
Do you got to even work tomorrow, dude? You're muted, homie. Is he muted? Rio, you still there? He must have stepped off. I don't know. I'm getting ready.
Perimeter check. Could be perimeter check. You never know. You know, the thing is, like, this whole debate thing we did wasn't really a good debate because it wasn't set up ahead of time. But
no,
I'm totally okay with that kind of thing. Like, the thing is, when you do a debate, you have to understand it's not personal, right? It's not personal. You're making a point, you know. So I find it amusing that anybody would think that I'm not well researched, and it's not that I'm bragging, but are you serious?
No, I know. The thing is, though, that's the thing that gets lost when you're having these discussions, is because just because you're not for one thing,
right. In other words, I'm not on the political or moral side, or I haven't made up a decision yet. The fact that it sounded like uneducated on the facts or something, that's totally different, you know. And that's what I should have brought that up in the debate, but the question wasn't asked in a way I could frame it. Yeah, it doesn't mean I don't know about those things. It doesn't mean I'm unaware. I'm not. You know, it's funny because you know what the term for that is? It's woke, right? So yeah. So I think I find that wildly amusing.
So next week, are you going to be doing the Enoch? Because we were supposed to.
I spent decades working on a book about that, and it's a fictional book that ended up being a true life book, but it's still gonna be a fictional book when it's done.
But we were supposed to.
I'll do part of it. I'll do part of it. You know what I'll do? I'll do the floods. I'll do the floods in different cultures and how that's what I'll do. That's what it'll be. I'll do that one.
All right, sounds good.
All right, not just the floods, but the friends. So I'm going to tie that into the friend. I think it'll be good. If I don't have to like work every day and go into climbing the bolts with toads every day, like I did today.
No,
it should work out okay.
Yeah, I understand. All right, well, I'm ready to GTFO, man. I'm gonna put my pedal to the metal and go hit my sheet, get myself some sheet knowledge. You've heard of street knowledge, but I'm going to get sheet knowledge. All right. So,
all right, good night, everybody. Thanks for listening. I had a great time. And yeah, no, when I go into Enoch, it's going to be elaborately into Enoch. I'm not going to just throw that out there. It's going to take some time. And it'll probably coincide with me actually re-engaging myself in writing the book. So I don't want to give everything away there either. I mean, not to say that I don't have knowledge I could share. I'm just saying that there's plot points and things I want to put in that, you know. I don't know if there's a fictional book, and I'll outro with this. I don't know if a fictional book related to this thing is ever going to be appropriate again, because it's too real right now. Like the things that are happening with artificial intelligence going the way it is, the things that are going on with the decline of just straight up morality in a moral center of the universe, and the denial of absolute reality, or not even absolute reality, the denial of persistent reality, is truly a game changer, and something we need to be aware of, and that probably deserves more of our attention than my silly book. But I will bring it up. And I think the first one I will engage next week, and I'll bring up the songs. Actually, it'll be good. I think it's about friendship, and it's about the flood. Friendship, and so that's the name of the title. There's the title. There it is. I just made it. Friendship and the flood.
All right.
Friendship and the flood. Okay.
All right, we'll see you guys. I'll probably play some music tomorrow night. All right, what a show, eh? Just want to point out, the show is like a slice of reality right there. It's literally what happened on the show is literally what we talk about Anyways.
All the time, right? I mean,